Let's go.
It's Wednesday. It's 7:30. Getting a late start this week. Slight delay to the program, but you know what that means. It's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live. We're glad everybody's here to join us. Got a pretty full episode here going on this week. So we're going to be talking Bills loss. I see Tony's already in there waiting, dude. He was waiting to talk some shit. But, yeah, our guy Tony, he's a part of Bill's Mafia out there. It was a good win. That was a close game, hard-fought game between two really, really good teams. So it was really entertaining. It was a blast. It was a really fun game to be at. Obviously came out on the wrong side, but we'll get into this more. But I didn't see any indication that the Bills are like clearly light years better than the Chiefs, which is what all the national people have talked about, and you hear kind of saw on online and on Twitter and Instagram or whatever. So we'll talk about that game. We'll talk about some Chiefs moves possibly that are coming up, some areas the Chiefs could improve with the Twitter poll. There's been some salary cap moves, some chatter about maybe the Chiefs are getting a wide receiver free agent. We'll see where that comes to. Then we got our Patrick Mahomes 1,500 followers giveaway. We have the winner selected. We'll announce that here at some point here towards the middle of the show. And then our special guest, John V. from the Locker Room Rant's going to come on. He's a 49er faithful, and he's going to give us the lowdown, kind of give us some intel on the enemy. And we'll talk about the game in San Francisco this Sunday that takes the Chiefs into their bye week. So a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to get to. We'll get to them. Bo, Nick, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, I'm fully over the loss, right? We've talked about it. We walked away disappointed, but I don't think any of us were totally crushed by the results of the game. Anytime you can go up against a really good team, and it's the difference is 4 points, and could have been either team's game at the end there. You feel all right, getting out of that. Ready for this week against the 49ers. We got a Super Bowl LIV matchup coming up. So just I'm doing good, man. How are you, Bo?
I'm good. I'm glad we do this show on Wednesday and not like Monday after the games, because wasn't doing so good on Monday. Still steaming from it, man. Just raging. Then I had some time to go back, look at the highlights, and just like, all right, yeah, this is the number one team in everybody's power rankings going against the number 2 team. We lost to them by 4 points. Everything's still looking up. We left a lot out there on the table. A couple unfortunate turnovers that happened kind of didn't help us. And then our offense just didn't seem like they were getting anything going, but we can get into that a little bit. But doing better now. Like half a week to absorb it. Got to laugh my ass off last night watching the Locker Room Rant, so that always helps. Glad to see these guys are in the chat too. But
yeah, we got Laney in the chat. We got it's Dylan.
Zach. We got Tony.
Zach's in the chat.
Zach. Got Dylan.
Yeah.
So glad everybody could join us. Yeah, let's just get into that game. I was out there at Arrowhead. I felt really good about the game until I felt really good when we got the stop. Bills went for it on 4th and 1 right there about midfield. We got the stop on defense, up 3. I thought, here we go. This is where we're going to get a touchdown here, go up 10. Chiefs go 3 and out, punted the ball away with like 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left, and I just kind of thought, oh no, like this.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the Chiefs defense, even though they had played really good in that game. I just didn't see them making another stop. It's
I know, man.
They made the stop. So, but when Buffalo went down and scored the touchdown, there was over a minute left. I thought it's a 4-point lead, so they got to get 7. But the Chiefs, they did it in the first half again, this time with 12 seconds, got into field goal range. So I thought, well, hell, if they get field goal range in 12 seconds, a touchdown is completely doable with a minute left.
All the time in the world with a minute,
Timeout,
right?
2 timeouts left. Yeah, I was feeling good, and then I was not feeling so good. And then we got the ball back, and I was feeling pretty good again. And then,
dude, last week we were talking about that exact thing. Like, what would you rather have? Chiefs with 4 minutes in the lead, or Chiefs having to go get it with like a minute or 2 left? And so I was just like, oh, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, both situations, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Big Doug's got a good point in the comments. Letting him go 98 yards at the end of the first half when you had them 3rd and 13 on their 1-yard line.
Oh, I know, man.
So the defense isn't without blame. I mean, they played good. And they were missing 4 starters on defense, 3 starters. They were missing 2 starting cornerbacks, and they were missing a linebacker.
It showed, dude. It showed.
They played good, you know, like.
But to your point, man, the guys that were, you know, the rookies that they had in there, and the guys that were not playing that should have been, it showed that they weren't there, man. The inexperience, Josh Allen kind of really exposed that. On Sunday. So.
Right. Yeah, just the Chiefs missing Trent McDuffie, who I understand is a rookie, but he's a first-round draft pick. You expect him to be good, especially since a guy that was playing in his place, Joshua Williams, is like an undrafted free agent guy. Like what? So late-round draft picks playing in the secondary, going up against Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. We'll get to that too.
Yeah, Von Miller crushed it in this game.
Nick, what kind of stood out to you most about the game? A drive or a play or a situation or?
Yeah, I think that when we had the ball, we were up 3 points and there was 5 or 6 minutes left. I think it's 5 minutes left in the game. It's like, okay, we take 2 or 3 or 4 minutes here. We score, hopefully a touchdown. We can go up 10 points. This is it, right? This is the situation you hope for. You can go up 2 scores, give them the ball back with really not 2 scores worth of time left. And then we had to punt. To me, that's the situation that kind of stood out, right? Like we're just not used to seeing our offense sputter there. So credit to the Bills team for getting it, getting to him there. Von Miller did make a noticeable difference. Shout out to Von Miller. He's wearing a Derek Thomas shirt to the field. He's shown Derek Thomas and the Chiefs some respect there.
Channeled that energy for that game, dude.
Yeah, he did. So really that's the situation that kind of stood out to me, where like we had the game in hand and we just didn't execute the plays on offense that we needed to. Zach said it. I think that the defense, we can pick apart some of those plays, maybe some of the play calling from Spags, but I don't think you can really expect much more of those dudes in that situation than holding that team to 24 points. I mean, I think that's was good enough to win. We had the ball with the chance to go up 2 scores. We had the ball with a minute left, needing to just go down and put up a touchdown to win. They put us in a position where we could win. Really, there was the one true turnover, but they got 3 turnovers, right? There are 2 4th downs that the Bills didn't convert. One of them was in the red zone. So, they got the ball turned over 3 times for us. I think that the defense played well enough. And really, I texted Scott during the game and I was just like, dude, Tyreek Hill's worth at least probably 7 points in this game from some of the plays that I saw with people, getting run down from behind when they had the ball, or not,
Juju
get past people. We had Pacheco had a play where he had an open field in front of him, and I think if that's the Cheetah getting that ball, the other number 10, we probably would have got a big gain there. So missing the Cheetah hurt, but I think there's also a lot of optimism that I came out of this game with, where I feel the Bills they're going to get White back, I believe, so they're going to get a little bit better, but I feel like the Bills are kind of like a polished, finished product. And I feel like the Chiefs have a lot of room to grow with a new receiving core, a lot of new pieces on defense. We're getting a lot of pieces on defense back.
Yeah.
so I feel like, and the difference was 4 points. So I like to think that, there's a lot of optimism for the rest of the season and seeing this team grow and seeing where they can be, towards the time when it really matters in the playoffs. So, but congrats to the Bills. Congrats to you, Tony. We shouted out on the locker room rant. You guys won straight up, man. I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm not going to blame refs. I'm not going to say this or that happened or whatever. You guys came in and you beat us. So congrats.
Yeah, man, what I saw was what Doug was actually alluding to here, right? We were talking about it last week and we talked about it last season even. I remember having this conversation with Doug as well, man. Just the play calling on the defensive side, dude. Leaving rookies one-on-one with people like Diggs, you're just like, that's it. To me, that's as dumb as a move as putting Dan Sorensen one-on-one with Diggs. Like, what are you even thinking? And then bringing the house, not giving them any help whatsoever, just bringing the entire house. That like really grinded my gears, dude. Just like, what are we doing here? What else I also noticed was that to Nick's point, what a positive that came out of this game is like all those same rookies and everything got a shit ton of experience, man. And they didn't look that bad. They held one of the better teams to 24 points. I mean, arguably 17 until the very end on that last drive when, everybody's dog tired and you have one of the better offenses going against you. I thought they did pretty well considering, but they were our Achilles heel in that game. To me, was our rookies down deep, and then offensive wise, man, it was just disappointing to see us not really get a run game going, and then just again the play calling to me was just so atrocious, man. I'm so tired of seeing 3rd and 15 plus. And then just a little dump screen, hoping that's going to work or get us close enough. I want to see plays that actually have a chance to get to the first down marker. I'm just tired of the attitude towards the play calling, essentially. But yeah, I mean the Bills played good. I thought we played good too when we were on. I mean, to Nick was talking about Juju. I thought he played a great game, even though he did get run down from behind on that pretty good play. Definitely missing the cheat on that. Scott was in my mind that whole time. Like Tyreek Hill makes that play. So, but
yeah,
dude, I don't understand. I like to see other people get involved, like Watson, and I'd like to see Pacheco get the ball more. I was kind of, like I said, disappointed with our run game or the lack thereof. They say they want to establish a run game, but then they only run it like 15, 16 times. You're like, come on, guys, we got to do more than that if you're trying to establish a run game. But yeah, it's kind of my 2 cents. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I kind of talked about leading in here the missed opportunity when the defense got the stop on 4th down there right at midfield. You have a short field, like you go and get 7 there, you're up 10 with not much time left. Another missed opportunity too was, and we talk about, Chiefs maybe missing Tyreek Hill or whatever. If anybody's paying attention, Tyreek Hill is on record or on pace to break single-season NFL receiving record. So, looks like the idea that he was going to get worse somehow, his number is going to fall way off. Doesn't look like that's coming to be the case. But the Bills, they Chiefs win the coin toss, they defer. Bills get the ball. They're moving the ball pretty easily. And then they turn it over on the toss play.
Right. Shot themselves in the
Chiefs
foot
get
on
the
that
ball
one.
and they're moving the ball. And they're moving it on the Bills defense. Chiefs had the number 1 offense going into this game. Bills had number 2 offense. Really, I think where a lot of people thought the separation between the two teams was on the defense. And so it was good to see the Chiefs get the turnover. Wouldn't have necessarily forced turnover, but they were capitalizing on it. They moved the ball right down. They score a touchdown that is called back on the center being
1 yard
feet too far downfield or whatever. Okay, that's a penalty. They called it. Fine. MVS, to me, needs to make that catch right there. Yeah, he had the size. Patrick Mahomes, that's one of those Mahomes magic plays where he's scrambling around right as he's getting ready to go out of bounds. He throws it up. MVS had it in his hands. As he's coming down, he lets it bobble or juggles it a little bit, and it comes a little bit loose, and the defender is able to pull it away for an interception. So you have a chance there to defer and go up 7-0 to start the game. Basically, that was almost like getting the ball to start the first and the second half.
Right.
They
Yeah.
get nothing there. Then they're, like I said, the fourth quarter where they stopped on 4th one. Those two to me were the two key spots in the game where the Chiefs really had an opportunity to, I'm not going to say like put the game away, but
Definitely put them on their heels.
Those two opportunities not capitalizing haunted them the most out of everything else that they did. And I know the Bills fans and will say, well, we did this wrong. You know, we gave you a turnover on the first drive. But to me, it kind of going piggybacking off of what Nick was saying about, it seemed like the Chiefs just kept shooting themselves in the foot and missing opportunities to put the game away.
Yeah,
and they lost by 4. And if 1 or 2 out of any 5 or 6 plays did go differently, you know, maybe they win. I mean, they were playing with a banged up defense and had the Bills on the ropes with a minute left and had the lead. Credit to Josh Allen. He played his ass off in the fourth quarter. That was a hell of a pass to Knox there. That was the game winner. Put the ball in there low, right there in the side of the end zone. Hell of a play. That dude played.
Straight jumped over.
He played really well. So, again, not trying to take anything away from the Bills, but I left that game feeling like the Chiefs didn't play their best and almost won anyway. So,
right.
Implications of that game.
I'm curious.
It could matter down the road. It might not. Last year, Buffalo beat us by what, 16 at home in week 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were at that point they were 4-1, and the Chiefs are 2-3. They're 2 games ahead of us with the tiebreaker in hand, and the Chiefs still ended up hosting the AFC Championship game. So there's a lot of football left to be played, right?
I'm curious, Tony, if you're still in the chat, do you think the Bills lost that game, or do you guys think you guys were trying hard and you guys got it? Like, to what Scott was saying about the Chiefs, like I feel like we lost that game. Like, I don't feel like the Bills really necessarily won that game. Like they both teams played well, but shooting ourselves in the foot as many times as we did, causing more turnovers essentially, not capitalizing on points cost us the game. Zach's point, our O-line not really protecting Mahomes cost us the game. Like you just improve a couple, basic things, get points in the red zone, handle that, like you said, make the plays when they're there. It's a different ball game.
Yeah. There was some other stuff too where Von Miller up against Andrew Wiley is not an ideal situation, but
yeah.
The running game, to me, it was really surprising. It's kind of something else that stood out. The Bills are not known for being able to run the ball, and they were running the ball for 7, 8, 10-yard plays pretty regularly.
Right.
Through the course of the game. And we could not get our running game going. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, dude's back in the doghouse, as far as I'm concerned. He had a game or 2 where he flashed and made some big plays, but it looks like we're back to 2-yard Clyde where the dude just runs into the middle of the line and gets a yard or 2. There was plays from where I was sitting in the stadium where, I could see holes, and he's going and he's hitting up, but he's just not fast enough. He doesn't have that burst,
right,
to get in there and make those 2-yard gains into 5, 6-yard gains.
It really seemed like he was getting taken down with the first contact that was made, right? Like he couldn't break a tackle to save his life, and if anybody got a hand on him, down. And not like a struggle, it's just down.
Yeah. Nick,
he was getting
the running game, what did you see?
Yeah, I think he was getting hit a lot in the backfield. But there were plays that were to be made, and I don't think Clyde made them. So, I think that Zach, brings up a really good point, right? We threw this up for a while, but I think the offensive line is really struggling. I think that, part of it is we played a lot of really good defenses. So, we played the Bills, number 1 scoring defense. We're going to play the number 2 scoring defense this upcoming week. And your tackles can't be both top 5 in pressures allowed, and think that your team's going to have great success on offense, which is where we're at right now. They're just not keeping people off of Patrick. And if Patrick isn't a magician at escaping, there were a few plays there where, I mean, he was just dodging people. I mean, it was just amazing to watch, really. But, it's like then you see other, quarterbacks like Josh Allen's kind of sitting back there comfortable a lot of the time. And I just wonder, if we didn't have Patrick Mahomes, I mean, and we had an average quarterback that wasn't able to dodge that much stuff, I mean, we would probably be looking at a 1 or 2 win team right now. Just because, I mean, there's just guys coming through. I mean, every play almost.
Dude, I brought this up last week, though. The guys that are coming through are such high caliber, top tier defensive pass rushers, dude. Like, think about everybody we faced. Like, we have to do it again this week with Bosa, right? Like, if he's playing, but like, dude, every team has had that like Madden 99 pass rusher against us, right? And until after the 49ers, we finally get a break facing these defensive behemoths, man. Like, I really think it's a testament to the level of defensive caliber we're seeing, not necessarily our O. I mean, it's probably a little both. Like, our O line is definitely struggling. Joe Valerio brought that up.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there, but after the amount of investment we've made in our offensive line, like, it should be better than it is even against those defenses, Like, we invested like we were getting the version of that on our offensive line, right? That top 5, guys after the Tampa Bay Super Bowl. We'd traded picks to get Brown, Orlando Brown Jr., and he's played pretty god awful this year. I mean, and so I don't know. It's frustrating. I'm not saying that he should have been 100% clean, but when both of your tackles are top 5 in the league and pressure's allowed, like, you're going to have a bad time, right? It's the same. So, I mean, part of it is that we've played like killers, right, on defense.
Yeah, exactly. Like killers. And that's the point I was bringing up, too. It's just
Khalil Mack, Von Miller, and upcoming, both of the Bosas, right?
Exactly. JJ Watt, throw him in there too. I mean, I know he's a little older, but dude, like, everybody's had one of those guys on their team, and
right.
It's just, and like, yeah, it's really kind of exposed it. But like, to the point you're saying about investing in our O line, I wouldn't say Mahomes is running for his life. He's having to scramble a bit, but he's not running for his life like we saw in that Super Bowl. And like, I feel like there's a big difference there, right? Like, having Mahomes completely under duress all the time versus, I mean, that Buffalo game kind of felt like that, but I haven't seen him like scramble mode like we saw in that Super Bowl, though.
Well, we talked about it week 1 in Arizona. I thought Patrick was taking too many hits. And then the Raiders game, Patrick went over the line after the first couple of series and said, look, this game is going to be on you all. They're playing man. Our guys can get open. We can beat them. You got to give me time. But then you saw this line go against Tampa Bay, who has one of the best defensive fronts and defensive lines in the NFL. And they manhandled those guys and played awesome. And they ran the ball and they pass protected. So the inconsistency is really frustrating. Is it from a lack of effort? Is it from a lack of scheme? Is it from a lack of continuity? I don't know. Just what is it? Because if you can hold up against Tampa Bay's front 7 and their defensive line, you should be able to hold up against a lot of people's. But Patrick's I see and I understand what you're saying about the running backs getting hit in the backfield, but that happens on a lot of games. You see, it's the plays where there's holes or there's plays made that they try these sweep plays with him. He's not fast enough to get to the edge.
Yeah, not at all. No way.
The guy gets run down from behind. So I would love to see Pacheco get a chance. I really would. I would love to see Isaiah Pacheco get 15, 18 carries in a game and see what the guy can do.
Dude, if he got that many carries, could you imagine the production he would actually have? That guy is such a workhorse. I just don't feel like he's been given the opportunity, to your point.
Yeah. Got Dylan in here. I'd like to see delayed runs from shotgun. Yeah, maybe get some delayed stuff, catch teams off guard. I'm not opposed to seeing that because really what they've been doing this last week or so hasn't really been working. They didn't really run the ball that good against the Raiders either, to be honest. So we got a Zim in here. Toughest schedule, man. The league did it intentionally so they can promote the Bills. Yeah, it seems like the Chiefs always have like one of the toughest schedules every year. A lot of that is set up ahead of time with the rotation between the divisions and the conferences and where you finish in your division. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs right now, we're sitting at 4-2, having played, I think I saw on NFL Network, is either the toughest or the second toughest schedule so far in the NFL. We got the 49ers coming up, which John B will be joining us here in a little bit. We'll talk about that game. But the Chiefs can get a win there going into the bye week, having played that tough. Sitting at 5-2, you're going to be a little disappointed because you're going to feel like you should have been 6-1 after blowing the game to the Colts.
Yeah.
But 5-2 going through that stretch, I think a lot of Chiefs fans would have taken that.
Oh, dude, I know plenty of Chiefs fans that would have taken that. If you watch other podcasts, like they were predicting us having 3, maybe 4 losses at this point. There were some doubters out there for really big Chiefs podcasts. I don't want to like name names or throw anybody under the bus, but
Do it.
they're head addict. Like trying to say the Chiefs were going to start off at like 1-4, 1-5, man. Like I really commented like, are you guys even Chiefs fans? Like, what are you talking about? But
Right.
yeah, I think
may
we're
or
in
may
a
not
great
have been
spot.
associated with them in the past. Yeah, I will say though that I watched that game and then I watched the was it Monday Night Football with the Chargers and the Broncos, and I instantly felt just so much better about the Chiefs team. I mean, that was just god awful football to watch. So.
Yeah, frustrating loss. I can't believe I wasn't more upset about it than when I was walking out. I was kind of like, well, we lost and it was a close game, and I feel like we got a chance to get them down the road.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, good game by the Bills. Chiefs got some room for improvement, no doubt about that. They Harrison Butker is back. That was nice to see, although he missed a field goal that some people were saying it was a chip shot, and I was at the game, so they don't announce how far it was. Wasn't it like a 48-yarder or something?
It's like, I think it's 51.
Yeah, that's not a chip shot, so I don't know where that's coming from.
I get that, but the guy made a franchise record 62-yarder, right? So, like, we kind of stole 3. So, I mean, look, it would have been great if he had made the 50-yarder after he made the 60-yarder, but, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to be too hard on the guy. He just came back from injury. So, kudos to him, right?
Yeah, Matt Wright's record was short-lived. He had his 5 minutes of fame. He didn't even get 15 minutes because if you go back on previous episode, I want to say after that Raiders game where I was talking about the record kick by Matt Wright, I said that's not going to sit well with Harrison Butker. That's going to be stuck in his craw that some dude comes in for 2 weeks and sets a Chiefs record. And apparently it did because he went out and he booted the shit out of that 62-yarder. And it had length and it was down the middle into the wind. Because I was watching and
was it windy?
It was windy. I was sitting there at Arrowhead watching it, and I was adding up my head. I'm like, man, that's about a 60-yarder. And I'm looking at the flags on the top of the goalpost, and they're blowing towards Butker. I mean, he was kicking that into the wind. 62-yarder. The guy is a weapon. No doubt about that. Really
that kick also had an extra 8 yards on it before it would doink off the crossbar. So I mean, dude, that would have been good from damn near 70 yards, man.
70 into the wind.
Shout out to Harrison Butker for that.
Yeah, look, Zach saying that same thing.
Yeah,
it was
good to see him back.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see a 70-yard kick in our lifetime? I think it's possible.
Oh, I mean, it's possible.
We might see one from Butker.
Do you think a team goes for it? Because, dude, you're on the other side of the 50. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hell of a call.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like if you're up like a bunch and you just want to try to get the guy a record or something.
What's the record right now? 65, right?
I think so.
The problem
either that or
it's like you're giving the ball away on your side of the field,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a hell of a call.
Yeah.
Either that or it's a situation like you saw at the end of the first half with the Chiefs where there's 2 seconds left. The kick's going to be the last play of the half, right? Good to see our race car back up in here.
Our comment earlier about something about Jones. Jones is amazing.
Talking about,
Speaking of Jones, that's a nice jersey you got there, Mr. Smug.
Yep. Oh, yeah. representing Stone Cold on tonight's episode.
Did you guys see
Yeah,
that?
John C. Butker is the bomb.
Yeah,
definitely is.
Speaking of kickers, did you guys see Tommy Townsend said he got PED tested after the game?
Yeah.
I thought I made a bit. There it is.
About is like either like a 58-yard fair catch and just how insane it is to be able to kick the ball that far and still have it be a fair catch. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I made a little banner on that. He tweeted out today. He's like, classic PEDS test after a great performance. Like, dude,
Random.
Yeah, exactly.
Random drug testing.
Well, I think he's number one in net yards. He's got the longest punt this year and most hang time of any punter. So
number one in net yards with the tied for fourth for least amount of punts, I think, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
He's been really good. He kind of struggled his first year and then that Super Bowl. And then I didn't think he was that great last year, but he's been playing pretty well this year, obviously. He's one of special teams. Got a couple of the best kickers in the game. Butker, I don't know that he has the consistency of the guy in Baltimore, who I can't think of his name now.
Justin Tucker.
Thank you, Bo. But I think he's got more leg than Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he can.
He's coming fresh off an injury too, and he just nailed a 62-yarder in Kansas, not in Denver.
He sprained his ankle in the Arizona game and then kicked a 50-yarder without a run-up. Took one step, kicked 50-yard field goal. The dude's got a powerful leg. So Chiefs getting healthy maybe here, getting Butker back. Willie Gay's coming back off his suspension. That's going to be huge. Trent McDuffie, he was questionable 50-50 whether or not he was going to be able to play in this game against Buffalo. They sat him out of extra precaution, I think. So get some guys back, get back on track here. We'll be looking pretty good. John C's back up in here. Good to see you again, John. Has any other team have all-pro first-team kickers? I don't know. It's a good question.
We got a knack for getting them, though, right?
Yeah,
we do.
Definitely do.
We do. We have a knack.
Butker was just sitting there on, I think it was Carolina's practice squad, right?
Yeah. Poached him from – thank you, Carolina. Teams do that, though. They try to hide guys on the practice squad because they don't want to pay them or for whatever reason. But, I mean, who did you have that was on the team, like, ahead of that guy? You know what I mean? Why would you try and hide a kicker like that?
Did you have a guy that could kick 80-yard field goals, or were you?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, not very wise on them. But areas of improvement, I don't know. We did. I'd be interested to say after this week. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the wide receiver position. Mm-hmm. What are you guys seeing from wide receiver? Are you the Bills game? I mean, Juju finally got, Hardman got a touchdown. Juju got a touchdown. MVS had a touchdown taken away on penalty and then dropped the touchdown in the end zone. Maybe those guys are coming to life a little bit. Sky Moore's getting more involved in the game plan, it looks like. You see him out. You see 24 on the field more. You feel like we're getting better there? You feel like we're still about the same? Good enough, not good enough, Bo?
Dude, that's a good question. As far as like our whole receiving core as a core, I dig what we got. I feel, especially compared to last year, they're a little bit more consistent as a whole. Like I'm not seeing a whole bunch of drop passes. Not as many as last year, especially tip balls for interceptions, right? Like we are seeing a couple of drop passes.
They're not getting tipped for interceptions, but I mean,
it
MVS
like
has
it definitely was a talking point last season, though, right? The amount of drop passes. Whereas like this year, that's not the case for me. Whereas it'd be like, oh, the drop passes are the reason we lost that game in a sense, right? Like, I guess you can make it. You're making an argument that it could be. I just don't personally see that. I was a little bit more stoked on MVS than I thought. Than I guess I was more stoked than I am now. that guy just isn't living up to what I thought he was gonna be. I mean, he did okay in Green Bay, but I thought, man, you just have Patrick thrown to him and not like Rodgers, somebody like, kind of fit more for his style. I thought it was gonna be great. He's kind of coming up as a dud. I'm actually really more stoked in what Juju's doing for us. I think he had a hell of a game. I think he's finally starting to find his stride again. I don't know if you're stoked on him as much as I am, but I really like what Juju's doing. I think he's actually becoming our number 2 target next to Kelsey. But as far as the entirety of the receiving core, I would really like to see Sky Moore get more involved. I think he's actually doing a really good job. I think I'd like to see him get more targets than 3 or 4 a game. Bump those up. I think we'd actually be really impressed with his numbers. And then like last week, I was saying, I like to see Watson get more involved. I don't know why they're kind of steering away from him. And also our tight end Fortson, haven't really seen him too much. And he was doing a bang up job at the beginning of the year. So so I guess I don't know. I guess I'm kind of like in the middle of the ground there when it comes to like if I'm stoked or if I'm disappointed in our team. I still feel like there's a lot of room for improvement. They could go either way, but yeah, I'm stoked on them. I like what we got. Definitely missing the cheetah this past game, but I like that we're spreading it around and I like the consistency of it. What about you, Nick?
I mean, Mahomes had over 300 yards passing in the game, right? So you'd say that our receiving core is doing all right, at least. Juju had a hell of a
Kelsey had, 108 of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Juju had a 100-yard game too.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we got John B popping up in the chat. He's hustling out of there to come join us. He's going to be live here in about probably 20 minutes. Looking forward to it, John. But I think that, look, like they had tremendous churn on the receiving core this past year. There's the only guy that came back that wasn't Travis Kelce is Mecole Hardman. And so I still think you're seeing them kind of figure each other out.
Yeah.
It was really disappointing to see MVS not come down with that 50-50 ball because you just like you need that dude to come down with that ball in that situation, right? Like you think about like it was like Joe Burrow's entire season last year was throwing that ball to Jamar Chase and Jamar Chase coming down with it. That's literally like what got them to a Super Bowl was that play. And when you see these other teams, when you see Josh Allen, he's got a guy one-on-one, he throws the ball and the guy catches it. And so we need somebody that can do that. I don't know that we necessarily have that guy. I think Juju showed enough in this last game that got me excited to see if him and Mahomes' chemistry gets a little bit better, like what that connection can look like. I mean, that was a hell of a catch and run for that touchdown. I mean, they had him dead to rights and he bounced off of him and got around all of them and scored. So I know he got run down from behind on a play, which you don't want to see your receivers do, but I mean, he's a bigger dude, right? He's not a super speedster type guy. So I think that it's still a little early to tell, right? I think that we have the number 1 scoring offense in the league, and Mahomes is like 4th in yards. I know that we can say, well, a lot of that's Travis Kelce, but like I want a lot of that to be Travis Kelce, So if it's Travis Kelce getting a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards, and then 3 or 4 other dudes that are also getting, a lot of yards, but none of them is standing out as being like a, top in the league type receiver. Like I'm probably good with that as long as we keep scoring points. So
am I wrong? Is my memory playing tricks on me that MVS where you guys are saying he should have came down with that? Was he not double teamed on that play? Was there not a guy in front and back of him? And like, granted, he jumped higher, but like,
yeah, the guy came off of Sky Moore. And so it ended up having two defenders there. But the ball was in his hands. It hit him in the hands, and he's 6'4". He's a 6'4" wide receiver that we just gave a contract to, and it's a 50-50 ball. So like I just
yeah, good point.
I expect him to come down with it. I don't know. That's
a fair expectation.
Right. So, yeah. But another takeaway is I'd like to see Sky Moore get more involved in the offense. I think that he showed some spurts in I think it was the Raiders game. We had a couple of good wide receiver bubble screens to him, and he got some pretty good yards on those. So I'd like to see him get more incorporated. I know that that's I think that, as John's saying here, it's like Reed's grooming the team for the end of the season. I think that he's trying to slowly kind of work some of these guys in. He doesn't want to destroy their confidence. It's a complex offense. So I don't know. I guess I'm okay. Now, if we went out and were able to land some blockbuster, definite number one wide receiver, like I would be happy. So, but I think we got the pieces that we need to win and go far this year on the team.
Scott, Nick just kind of alluded to a trade or anything, but what are you feeling about the wide receiver core that we have right now?
Yeah, it's been pretty underwhelming, if I'm being honest, to me. MVS was brought in to be this speedster home run hitter. He hasn't hit any home runs. Juju's, he's picked it up the last week or two, and he's on pace now to maybe just scratch 1,000 yards. But he's only on pace for 3 touchdowns. I mean, he's got 1 touchdown through 6 games. Going into this Buffalo game, we only had 2 touchdowns by wide receivers. So, it's kind of disappointing that Sky Moore's taking this long to get more reps and become more of a factor. Juju, to me, is what Juju's always been. Maybe a decent complimentary guy, a number 2 wide receiver, which I understand Travis Kelce's the number 1 wide receiver. But, I mean, when you had Tyreek Hill, you had a 1 wide receiver and a tight end 1. You know what I'm saying? So, right. I've just been a little underwhelmed, and I expected more. Maybe I was a little bit more down on him going in. I was a little bit more upset about the Tyreek Hill situation than other people. So maybe that I went in more tempered, and maybe that's why I'm a little bit more tempered now. But it seems to me like the Chiefs have had to try to gimmick around the wide receiver production. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes had 5 touchdown passes against Arizona, and he had 4 in another game, I want to say. But if you look at a lot of his touchdown passes, they're like 9 yards, 6 yards, 9 yards, 11 yards, 8 yards to running backs, to Jody Fortson, to Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce had 4 touchdowns in the game against the Raiders, but 25 yards. They're finding a way to be productive, but it's taking longer drives. And I don't want to say it's smoke and mirrors, because it's never going to be smoke and mirrors with Mahomes. But to me, I just don't know how they compete. I mean, you saw it against the Bills, right? I mean, they had their guys burn guys for longer pass plays. And granted, that's against Joshua Williams, and that's on Spags, which I think Bo alluded to a little bit earlier. If you're playing your 4th or your 5th string cornerback, you can't leave him one-on-one on the outside with fucking Stephon Diggs.
Exactly.
And I've seen some people, some film analysts, people breaking stuff down throughout the week that maybe Juan Thornhill was supposed to be a little bit more help or give some coverage on 1 or 2 of those longer touchdown passes. So maybe it'd be a little too critical. I don't know defenses and schemes, and I'm not, I'm not schooled in play call and design and know who's supposed to be where, right? And what this coverage is supposed to cover.
The Thornhill criticism, the one safety that's out there is supposed to help out with the deep ball, right? But the ball that Josh Allen threw he threw that into a bucket, man. On the sideline, it's hard to run from the middle of the field to the sideline in that amount of time. You get however long the ball's in the air, you know what I mean? And in that kind of play, it's not that long.
Right. But maybe shade your guy that way a little bit more if you know you're going to blitz everybody else. Don't make it that hard.
Why are you bringing the house? That's what I don't get, dude. I feel like they did such a great job of disguising all the blitzes against Brady and the Bucs game, where the defense was just on fire. They did such a great job. They brought the house a couple times, but not in that situation. And I just thought it was just terrible play calling.
They're just not getting pressure with 4 is why they're doing it. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, if you're going to bring the house, you got to get there before he can throw the ball, because you're exposed.
Yeah.
And if they don't get there and he throws it, then it's a bad call, right? That's what fans are going to talk about. Is it why the fuck was that guy 1-on-1 with Gabe Davis or with Stephon Diggs?
Right. We got our guy Zim in here, or our gal. I guess I shouldn't assume it's a guy. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. Doing the best I can here, but. So if I'm not mistaken, MVS is 6'4", the defender is 6 foot. So Mahomes analytic, MVS should. Yeah, I mean, you throw a high point ball to a guy that's got 4 inches on a cornerback, you should catch it.
Yep.
So
You're assuming those
but-
cornerbacks are 6 feet, dude. If they're 6'2", that's not. I mean, I could.
well, it
defend
sounds to me
6'4".
like he kind of knows that the guy's 6 foot. Maybe he knows that.
The only
he
point I
knows
was kind of making was that,
Yes,
like, a ball into double coverage isn't as easy as, like, one-on-one with it. Like, just the analytics of it, of having that, whatever however many yards a defender is within you. If you have two, the analytics like drop in by like 50% to make that catch. That's all. Like,
Right. I mean, he high pointed. He out jumped the guy and had the ball in his hands and let the guy pull it away from him. So, I don't want to sit here and beat the guy up for 2 hours on one play, but that kind of takes us to the poll. If you see some areas for improvement, we talked about what we've seen from wide receiver group. The secondary, the pass defense. Now, granted, the Chiefs have been up in a lot of games, and so they're getting thrown on a lot. The Tampa Bay game comes to mind. The Arizona game comes to mind. Teams just have completely abandoned the run. We're throwing the ball like crazy. But if you want to throw the poll up there, Nick. And I want to give a shout out to Chiefs Kingdom for finally getting the poll. We got over 100 votes.
Crushed it.
We've been trying to get all season, so that's
146.
Cool. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody that voted. If you're in the comments here, if you're watching live, one of our viewers, you want to weigh in, let us know who you would have voted for on this poll, or who maybe you did vote for if you follow us on Twitter. But this week's poll: which position group of the Chiefs is most in need of improvement? As you can see there, we had the secondary, the offensive line, running backs, and then wide receivers. I know.
Scott, I'm curious. What did you vote for on your own poll here, or did you vote?
I did not vote, but
what would you have voted for?
I would vote wide receiver personally.
Okay.
I feel like we need a number one wide receiver. I just don't feel like anybody on the team has stepped up and to fill that role that's been voided by Tyreek Hill. And I know they said it was we're going to try and fill it by committee and get some more guys in there. But
It's a good thought.
I think you were going to have that many wide receivers anyway. So, and I know that there's we kind of got some consternation from some people about, why didn't you put defensive line, or why didn't you put edge on here? Well, defensive end is a position, not a position group. And you only get 4 selections. We didn't put defensive line on here because really Chris Jones was on the defensive line. He's playing at an all-pro level. Some people might even say he's the most dominant defensive lineman in the league. Karlaftis, for a rookie, is gotten some pressures. Is maybe, a little underwhelming, but he's chipped in. Frank Clark's, I think, got a couple sacks. He's on pace to maybe get 7, 8, 9 sacks this year. So
Saunders needs to step it up. I would say that he needs to pick it up a notch or two.
So I will say that there was quite a few people, though, that added in the comments under this. The poll, defensive line was a big concern. It seemed like people wanted to see improvement there. Offensive line edged out the secondary, which the secondary's been banged up with injuries and missing their number 1 draft pick, which they addressed. So hopefully when McDuffie comes back, that helps, take care of that, see some improvement there. Bo, who are you voting for out of this poll, out of these 4 groups?
I did vote on this, and I voted for defensive secondary. I mean, that's kind of been my position, man. I've known it since the beginning. Just youth back there. I was, like I said at the top of the hour, I was stoked that that same group got a lot of experience this game. Should serve us really well moving forward, especially against another really good defense in San Francisco. But to me, that's where we need the most improvement. We can't be getting burned on those deep plays like that. Especially fourth quarter. I know everybody's tired. You played a hell of a game, but like that's when it matters most. You got to dig down. That's what all those 3-a-days are for. Quote the Titans, right? All in the mud. But yeah, that's my take. Get the defensive secondary. I'm hoping they improve the most. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think I voted secondary as well. I see that being a weakness for us. Even we get McDuffie back, and he's our first round draft pick, so hopefully he's solid there. But I mean, I don't think that Fenton is necessarily the answer, and I just see that Like literally every time we got man coverage on somebody, I see them throwing the ball up, and it seems like it's either a completion or it's pass interference. So
Right.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I would just do it every time, right? And then you see quarterbacks like Derek Carr did it every time. Josh
And it
Allen
worked.
every time. You've seen it for 2 weeks straight now. So that's where I voted. But I mean, I could see everything, right? I mean, running backs, like you don't have a clear number one running back. I think Laney's saying running backs. We had a couple people earlier in the chat talking about, what are we doing with Ronald Jones? Scott, I know you're not all that optimistic about what he's got left in the tank. But
has he even played in a regular season game this year?
No, he hasn't suited up.
He hasn't been active for a game, so so I went secondary, but and this isn't what do we need to trade for, right? Because I know that Zach's got a comment about the Kelsey contract, and we probably need to get onto that topic too. But I think it's just who needs to play better, right? And I think that the secondary is the team, the group that I think needs to play better the most. So
yeah, that's kind of where I was going with improvement.
Yeah,
is just play better, not necessarily like do we need to improve by going out and getting somebody. We just need who would help, like which position group playing better and improving would help the team the most. The offensive line. Someone brought this point up earlier too. I saw on Twitter. We've got that Lucas is his name Lucas Niang?
Niang? Yeah.
Yeah, his right tackle. I forgot that guy was freaking on the team because he sat out the COVID year and then got hurt last year. So maybe if he can come in and step in at right tackle, maybe that's an upgrade from Andrew Wiley. I know a lot of Chiefs Kingdom has not been happy with Andrew Wiley, Orlando Brown. The offensive line definitely needs to play better. Let me rephrase that. They need to play more consistently because they've played really. They've played
really well
in stretches where they weren't good. And Trey Smith came back from injury this week. The Chiefs got a game against 49ers coming in a bye week, so maybe some guys can use that extra week here coming up pretty soon to get healthy. So, yeah, thanks again to everybody who voted on the poll. We got another poll, which we're going to get to here shortly. So, but appreciate it. We did a giveaway, the Twitter poll, when we were getting to 1,500 followers to do the Patrick Mahomes giveaway. And it looks like we got 15 live viewers right now. So
maybe they're one of them. Who knows?
Maybe they're one of them. I put a tweet out there of the prize pack. We got some Mahomes socks. I think we got a lanyard in there, a flag you can hang up outside your house, keychain.
Yeah.
I basically went to Rally House and found every Patrick Mahomes thing that I could get. And,
I was going to text you like, maybe we should take 2 or 3 of those things out, just send them my way down here in Texas, and we could still be a really cool prize pack.
That's why I tweeted out the prizes before I sent them to you guys. See, I was thinking ahead because I knew.
I was like, hey,
and a little self-accountability there too, so that I didn't, copy that stuff for myself. But yeah, it's been really cool getting to 1,500 followers. We're up to like 1,600 now. We've been getting a lot more followers, which is really cool. But Zach, get a Twitter and follow, man. Maybe you win some stuff. But
it doesn't look like you're going to win this giveaway since you don't have a Twitter, man.
Right.
That was literally the only criteria to win this giveaway was just follow us on Twitter.
Right. And it's like, 1 out of 1,500. Those are pretty good odds. It's better than the Powerball. I mean, 1 out of 1,500 ain't great odds, but it's still not too bad. But
price is better than Powerball. Mahomes swag or 340 million? Come on, Mahomes swag.
No, obviously.
But the winner was Brenda. So we'll make sure to I'll send out a tweet. Got Brenda's Twitter there. Go ahead and give her a follow if you're watching and you got Twitter and you're already following her. She's really cool. She posts some really cool stuff and interacts with Chiefs. You see her really active in Chiefs. So it was cool to see her name come up there when we picked the winner. But we'll if you're watching by chance, Brenda, shoot us a message here. Let us know you're watching.
Let us know how to pronounce her last name. Is it Pomeroy or Pomeroy?
I don't know.
Is it French?
I mean, I would say Pomeroy, but again, you never know with pronunciations. So, and once the show's over, I'll announce it on Twitter and I'll tag her in there and we'll get her info. I believe she's in the southern. I think she's in Mississippi or Alabama somewhere. So we'll get with her and there you go, Zach.
Let's see it. I dare thee.
Let's see it. So, yeah, I'll get on Twitter and we'll get with Brenda and we'll make sure to get her swag. And thanks for everybody who follows us on Twitter. Thanks for everybody who votes in the polls.
I'm jealous that you get that cool prize pack. There's some really cool stuff in there. I'm jealous of the socks. The socks
are dope.
Those are dope.
I might be going back to Rally House here before too long.
Yeah, I'll Venmo you some money. Give me some stuff too.
Okay.
Man.
All right. I'll get you some socks and we'll get them out there to you. But yeah, we really are trying to grow this thing and we'd like to get some more viewers and some more followers and get some more interactions, maybe get some monetization so we could do some more giveaways. If you haven't clicked like on this video, or if you haven't, if you've watched other, you haven't subscribed, things like that, the quicker we can get more viewers and more subscriptions and more likes and grow the show, the quicker we can maybe start making some cash on this thing and do some giveaways. We're not a low budget production. We're a no budget production here. So we got zero revenue streams. The NFL is always talking about revenue streams. CKL has zero revenue streams other than the jobs that the three of us go work every day. So
I don't do the tweets either, John, but the longer you wait, the worse your chances get. As Scott said, it's 1 out of 1,500, 1 out of 1,600 now. You wait too long, it's be 1 out of 2,000.
We need to figure out. I'm thinking for the next giveaway, maybe something Travis Kelce themed. 8,700 followers might be a little ambitious for this season, but maybe we can. Maybe if he comes close to a record, or maybe if he passes somebody on an all-time list here.
Whoa! He's one game away from passing Gronk on most games with 100 yards plus. So
there you go.
Whoa!
Might be a good.
Are we about to buy a Travis Kelce jersey for one of our followers? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't know about that, but look, here's the deal. Twitter's free. So if you're watching right now, just go sign up and follow Chiefs Kingdom Live, and you don't have to
get a Travis Kelce jersey
pretty
soon.
Yeah, they don't kick you off for not being active.
And if you
go on and check it out,
you can create 2 accounts, and then you get 2 entries.
Right, you create 2 accounts. You create 20 accounts and get 20 entries. So Twitter, I know a lot of people don't like it, but if you just stay in the lane of sports on Twitter and Chiefs Twitter, especially Chiefs Kingdom on Twitter, you stay up to date on news and notes, but you also just see some really cool, funny stuff, some really interesting stats, some unique looks, perspectives. So I would suggest if you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter and follow Chiefs Kingdom Live, and the next winner might be you. You might be the next Brenda. So congratulations to Brenda. We had another. We did a second poll, and it kind of is tied in a little bit with the first poll we did. Nick, if you got that handy, you want to throw it up there, and it kind of goes with Zach's comment here.
He doesn't have that one.
Oh, okay. I thought you put it in there.
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, I guess we won't have it up. But
go check it out on Twitter.
Yeah, go on. Another even more reason to sign up for Twitter. You can go check out the other poll that we didn't put up on the show. But there's some talk about the Chiefs clearing up some cap space with a restructure of Travis Kelce's contract. Made almost $3 million in cap space.
3.5 almost.
Yeah, I saw 2.8, so I don't know where.
I saw 3.4. 3.44 something.
Maybe they already had a few $100,000 laying around or something too. So that. Could
okay. Yeah. So the deal itself was 2.8 plus whatever bits pieces left over.
Yeah. There's some speculation that maybe that was in order to make a trade or a move for a player. There's been some chatter online and NFL circles that the Carolina Panthers might be interested, and they have fired their coach. Maybe they've got some interest in accruing some draft picks for maybe a reboot or a rebuild. They've got a defensive end, Brian Burns. They've got running back Christian McCaffrey, a couple of decent wide receivers on the team that might be on the trade block. There's been some talk about possible, I want to say Quinnen Williams, a guy from the who does he play for? Does he play for Washington? Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's been some rumors going around that the Chiefs are maybe looking to sign someone or do a trade. Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ still sitting out there unsigned.
Zach nailed it. If you watch the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce, they talked about it. They didn't give nothing up, dude. I don't know if you saw when they're talking about OBJ, Kelsey's eyes lit up and he got giddy like a kid on Christmas Eve, man. Like,
He was saying about that $3 million they handed him is because they converted it to bonus. Because he was like, my agent was like talking to me, and I was like, I mean, I get the money now. He's like, yeah. He's like, all right, let's do it.
I'd be pretty giddy too if you just got handed $3.5 million, right? Just like, there you go.
Think about how many clothes, how many different suits and weird clothes Kelsey's gonna be able to buy with that.
And going back here real quick, so it looks like we got a lot of the followers or viewers here that maybe are subscribers that don't have the Twitter. If we get to 1,500 subscribers, we will do another Patrick Mahomes giveaway for subscribers on the YouTube channel. So tell your friends, share the channel, like, all that good stuff. We'll do another Patrick Mahomes giveaway if we can get to 1,500 subs on YouTube here.
Dude, if we get to 1,500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year, it'll be a Mahomes jersey. I'll buy that Mahomes jersey. That'll be a part of the giveaway. We'll get other stuff too.
I mean, I'll chip in on a jersey if we get to that point. So
exactly.
Tell your friends, tell your family, share the link, text it to people, say, hey, come check this out. That'd be really cool because, we want to, the viewers, the Twitter followers, it's not like one more important than the other or anything like that. I hate to, be leaving people out. So we'll work on doing something there as well. But, yeah, going back real quick, OBJ is a name that's been floating around. Some people joking about the old, my cousin's a real estate agent. And he said OBJ was house shopping in Kansas City. And my brother-in-law works at Cheesecake Factory and just saw OBJ eating. Like, that's been going around.
I saw him at the Dollar General up in Trimble,
Yeah, he was.
My cousin's a real estate agent. OBJ just bought a house there, I heard.
Right. He wouldn't let me take a picture with him, but he was there. So
something about an NDA. I don't know.
I'd be interested to see everybody in here watching. Send us a chat on a position or a player maybe you have in mind. I'm going to start off right now. I think the Chiefs should make a move for Terry McLaurin from Washington.
Interessante.
Dude, you got draft picks, man. The dude's young and he is good. And in this offense with his speed, the OBJ thing is interesting. I don't know how healthy he is. He tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. That is, generally speaking, a year full recovery time. I know some guys come back faster. There's always advances in recovery and medicine and surgeries and the way they do things. So there are people that come back sooner than a year. But he's 30 years old now on top of that. Not that he can't still be good. But for me, if you're going to make a move, I would like to do a splash move and go get somebody. Washington, you've got the picks for next year. I would be – that's who I would go after myself. And I would go after wide receiver. The Brian Burns guy is interesting in Carolina. Defensive end, edge rusher, which wouldn't help, which wouldn't hurt. Karlaftis and Frank Clark have been decent, but they have not been, world beaters either. So might not – maybe that would be my second wish list guy is a guy like that. I'd be interested to see what you guys think, maybe your thoughts on OBJ, and if you have somebody or a position in mind, a player on another team you'd like to go after. Bo?
I am not stoked on OBJ, man. We were kind of talking about this before the show started. You alluded to it in your points. He's 30. With a torn ACL, I just don't see him having the same spring in his step, the same jump in his leap that he once had when Eli was throwing it to him. I mean, we saw what he does when he doesn't get his way in Cleveland, kind of becomes a little bit of a drama queen. But to even counter that point, he was fine in LA, you know what I mean? Like, he was arguably the number 3 receiver in LA, kind of productive, and I think as long as he's on a winning team, he's happy, and like that would kind of be the situation here. But I'm with you, man. I'd rather see a different position group strengthen up. Other than that, although we do need a WR1. I'd rather see a running back come in. Nick and I were talking about this through text. I think it was in our group text. Cleveland, man. Like, let's coach one of their running backs. They have 2. They're struggling. They need some good things. Let's get Kareem back here.
Dude,
Get
I
him
knew
back
you were
on
going
the
to go
team.
there, Bo. I knew it. Something was telling me, man, the Kareem reunion.
I would love it, dude. I was so disappointed when he went away. Like, just as disappointed as you were when Tyreek went. That was me and Kareem, dude. I was so heartbroken. I loved him. I loved what he did for our team. I think he would still fit well. I think he knows what he's doing. He's got a better head on his shoulders. I think it'd be a perfect fit. What about you, Nick?
I remember where I was at when I found out Kareem Hunt got cut. Okay, so I felt the pain too.
We text each other right away. Like, I think you texted me
I
the
got a
video.
text from Scott saying, "Where were you when the Chiefs' hopes of winning the Super Bowl were dashed or whatever?" I had no idea what he's talking about. I was at a gas station filling up my car. Scotty, I think John V's ready. I don't know if you can see it in private chat.
No, I can't see that, Layla. We'll throw him here in a second. Just real quick, Nick, and then we'll talk about 49ers with John B.
Well, I'm a little bit I don't know. The appeal to me of OBJ is that we don't have to give up draft capital to get him. Right. I know that everybody's saying we have like 13 picks next year, but we're going to need that, I think, to move up to get like probably like a right tackle or a left tackle in the draft. You know, I'd rather see us use those picks to move up and get better position players that we, don't have to put on contracts right away. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really that stoked on making any big splash trades. McLaurin would be a good asset to have on our team. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not that really that excited about grabbing anybody. I mean, Zach, if we could get Sue on our team, and I mean, he's a baller,
Is it Sue
maybe we could try to see if the Broncos want to trade Russell Wilson for Mahomes straight up. We can take their contracts, and I don't know. So, but
might need a couple first for that one.
I'm not as big on those mid-season additions, right? Because we've seen it really kind of not work out super great. I mean, Ingram was good for us, last year. I guess we signed Suggs off of waivers, but anyway, sorry to be kind of a downer about it, but
dude, no, you brought up a great point. Ingram was a hell of a fucking trade for us last year, dude. Like that, our defense was struggling so hard. I feel like he kind of came around and was like the difference maker last year for our defensive woes completely.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what happens.
If we can get to a B for that, I think that we do need a little bit more pressure, somebody that can really get to the quarterback, because when we rush 4, I just don't see it. So
no, we don't. All right. Without further ado, let's bring in the king of Ohio Niner fans from the Locker Room Rant. If you don't watch that show, you should be. Go check them out. John B is in the house. What's up, John?
What's up, guys?
How are you, man?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for the platform, man.
Yeah. No, hey, thanks
How have
for
you been?
joining us, bro.
I'm ready for you, bro. I got my coffee mug all set.
I got my coffee mug right here.
I gotta add my chaser. I've been drinking beer, so I'm gonna add my chaser here, and then I'm ready.
What's new, gentlemen?
How you doing tonight, John?
I'm doing. I'm ready to talk Chiefs 49ers. A little bit. I mean, we're banged up. I'm really bummed out. I really wanted this matchup to be, we're actually the most injured in the league, and you're one of the healthiest teams in the league.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of guys that are fully participating on your injury report, I saw. But we have a lot of guys we have more than enough guys that are not participating. So we are where we are. But
did I see, John, you have 19 players on your injured list?
Dude, their injury report looks like a Costco receipt. It's
intense, right? Like it's not right. Like that's not right.
And it's not scrubs either. I mean, Bosa's on there. The guy, your safety, I can never pronounce his name. Hufanga or whatever his name is, right? He's on there.
Yep.
Motherfunga.
Yep.
What's going on there, man? What's up with that? Why you have so many injuries?
We got banged up. playing the Panthers. They really it came at a cost. Actually, games that we should win convincingly games that we win convincingly tend to take guys off the team, right? Like they come at a cost. So we lost Bosa due to a groin injury before the Panthers game, right? So he's supposed to be coming back versus Kansas City, and there's rumored to be that Trent Williams will also be our left tackle, should be making a comeback as well. Jimmy Ward actually broke his hand one play into the Carolina game, or was it the previous game? I think it was the previous game. The previous game versus the Rams. Comes in, breaks his hand after being out for the entire regular season, the beginning of it anyway. So he's got a club on, and he's supposed to be able to practice. He may actually play with the cast. I don't know if he's going to get any interceptions, but PBUs are just as good, right? An elite safety, just an amazing dude. Jason Verrett's supposed to be making he's supposed to be fully healthy, come back. JV is in my opinion, one of the best corners in football. Former All-Pro, just can't ask for more. We lost him in the Detroit game last season, first game of the season, when Dan Campbell made claims that he was going to take people's kneecaps. He, in fact, took Mostert's kneecap that day, and he took JV's as well. So we're glad to have him back. He had some setbacks along the way, but, I mean, he's supposed to be healthy. He's not on the PUP list. He wasn't on the injury report. So he should be clean, ready to go. I'm just bummed out that you don't get to see Charvarius Ward.
Oh, come on.
Man, he's been amazing for us. I don't know. He's been incredible. He's CB1 here. He's doing things that we did not get in previous years. Like our secondary last year was completely Swiss cheese. We were signing guys off the street. My neighbor tried out. Like it's absolutely insane, right?
Right. No, that hurt when I saw that Ward signed with him after last year.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, I get it, because when you got Travis Kelce and you got Patrick Mahomes and we hadn't gotten rid of Tyreek Hill yet at that point either. Mm-hmm. And Chris Jones is making big money on the defensive line. You just, man, like, you can only pay so many guys, right? And you got to pick and choose who you let go. Our secondary has been a little bit of an issue this year. Part of that is the Chiefs have been up, so teams have just been trying to play catch up, right? But yeah, they drafted a couple of guys, Trent McDuffie, a first-round draft pick, a rookie, that they were kind of hoping maybe would come in and take his place. But yeah, no, he's a good player. I miss Char Ward, man. I liked that guy a lot. He was underrated too, right? Like no one seemed to know who he was or how good he was.
Man, I love that guy on our team. I was jealous when I heard he was going to San Francisco. Just like,
man, to know that he went down with a groin injury last game was, I mean, I don't know. We haven't experienced an injury from him, so we don't know how quick he is to come back. We don't know. Does he bounce back? Has he been injured for you guys? What's it? I mean, he's amazing. He's amazing for us. So we just can't imagine it.
He was never really hurt here all that often that I can recall. He was a pretty dependable player.
Okay, cool. So our trainers suck. That's good.
Well,
that's real good.
I don't know. I mean,
what's in the water
back
soon.
Yeah, who do you got in your training room with 20 injured players in there anyway?
I feel like they're cutouts. I feel like they're cardboard cutouts. I feel like they're just people cut out of cardboard that
like
have
a COVID audience.
That you just gotta follow. Yeah, like exactly like a COVID audience. Just there's a regimen written on their face. You just follow it. And just most guys probably just punch them and walk by them. So I don't know. Something's got to be said about something. Either this is my theory on the injuries that we sustain season in, season out. Either the trainers are doing what the trainers are supposed to do, and the players are not following the regimen the way they should.
Yeah.
Or they're just not taking care of themselves in the off season, coming into OTAs, going into camp, soft and just 50-50, right? So I don't have an answer for it, and I don't think many 49er fans do, but we are entirely more frustrated than you can possibly imagine.
So I think it's a little bit of both of those. I think it's a little bit of both of those, right? Like players want to get in there and play, so they know what to say to the trainers to get in there and play. They know how to they know how to cheat the system. They know the right answers to all the questions. You see that during protocol checks every week. Players somehow get knocked unconscious, but they're back in 4 series later or something like that. And then also, yeah, man, it's exactly what you said. It's a little bit of both.
John, we got our first question for you from the chat here. I already know your answer to this, but I want
Nick,
you.
That was cold, man.
Man, I'm 100%.
Welcome to our chat. You know our chat.
I'm 100% a Trey Lance supporter. So no, Dylan, I am absolutely not at all relieved. I'm very pleased though. I have been on record stating that Jimmy G is a limited quarterback and holds us back for quite a bit of what we want to accomplish with the offense that we run. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that I wasn't relieved that we have Jimmy G still here in San Francisco, because whether I like it or whether I don't, how can you argue otherwise? I mean, the guy's a veteran in the system. He still holds us back in a sense, but Jimmy's been pretty good. I'm really not. If you guys have noticed in the last few shows at the Locker Room Rant, I'm not mad at Jimmy, and I'm not really. I mean, I got my moments. Like if you follow me on Twitter, you see that I basically tweet my emotions as I feel them. Like, it's usually a cursing, and it's not for children by any means, but Jimmy's a good backup. He's respected in this locker room. Like he's been here with us. He's been to a Super Bowl versus you. We lost a Super Bowl. Like, I don't know how much more of Jimmy you can say good. You can say there's bad, right? There's good and there's bad. But versus Atlanta just recently, we fell apart. We went into this game 7 guys short. The defensive line is all backups. We don't have Mike McGlinchey goes out with a calf at halftime. Right tackle out. Right. We're just patching this together right now with backups. You know what I mean? And I needed this game. I wanted Kansas City at healthy as possible, but it's going to listen. We're coming out. We're going to give you guys the best that we can. I do have Kansas City beating San Francisco.
I know. I was surprised when you said that.
I'm not a homer, dude. I believe that we can win the games we can win, and I believe that we can lose the games we should lose. Like, I'm not a homer. I will tell you when I think we can. I know my team. I know what we're capable of. I've followed Kansas City since we lost. I mean, the shootout with the Bills last season, and this redemption game for Buffalo. It was awesome, but it was different. Had a different tone. It's just you're missing the fastest guy on the planet. They gained an edge rusher. They are without Tre'Davious White, so the secondary was a little bit. I don't know. I like to say that San Francisco's defense is, in fact, at its healthiest, is the best defense in this game. I believe this.
Right.
That's not far fetched.
I believe we have depth, which we are there a little banged up as well. But I think that the way that we build this roster is why we are competitive. Since we lost the Super Bowl, 2020 was a disaster. 2021, we're right back in it in the NFC Championship. We lose. But we're here. We're this close. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
I thought that the addition of Trey Lance and the mobility that he brings, the arm strength that Trey has, he's a smart guy. He's trying to find his way. Now, Jimmy lingering in the background makes it a little awkward. It's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
But you accept it for what it's worth, because then Kyle Shanahan at presser tells us that, you know, Trey Lance is QB1, and the guys know it. The players know it. The fans know it. We know it. This is the direction we're going. And they weren't too clear on what Jimmy was going to be and where he was going to go. Jimmy wasn't part of any of the meetings. He just kind of lingered on a practice field, throwing the ball, running, just doing odd things. It's really awkward because like you're having camp and Jimmy's just in the background doing Jimmy things.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows like what's coming of this. Like there are no trade partners. No one's really interested in picking up Jim. The $26 million contract is not appealing to you if this is not your guy, right? So no one's going to pay a bridge quarterback that kind of money. So he didn't have a market. So I the way that they restructured everything and said that Jimmy was going to be a backup, I was confident, and I felt a little better knowing that like Brock Purdy isn't going to be the backup to Trey Lance and some Nate Sudfeld. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Jimmy. We are a contending roster. We should have a good backup, and it is what it is. Like we had a lot of drops last game, guys.
So
Jimmy,
was it a blessing in disguise almost that Trey got hurt essentially? Like because there was a lot of quarterback controversy. Like who should be starting? Who is QB1? Like you said, they announced Trey being the QB1, and there was even that side of the media going like, well, should Jimmy be the number one? So like, do you think it's better? I mean, like now that's aside, you guys can concentrate on what you guys are going on forward. Or
I mean, I can't say that it was a blessing in disguise because I cannot for the dude when Trey snapped his ankle. I mean,
oh yeah, gutted, right? I was gutted for you.
I was gutted, right? I mean,
yeah,
I was just gutted. I just to say that it was a blessing in disguise. It's just better to have than not need than to need not have. That kind of situation.
Right. Okay.
Jimmy's here. The way that we use Trey Lance, the way we were using Trey Lance, running between the tackles and using him Josh Allen-esque, so to speak, like
some hill
risk,
almost.
It's a risk, right?
Yeah,
it's risky. And my thing is, would Kyle have done that if Brock Purdy was your backup or Nate Sudfeld or
no way,
or wherever these people that you find? Like, are you as careless with your young rookie if you had some no-name backup quarterback who doesn't know his ass from his elbow, right?
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
So there's something to be said with the play calling. I wasn't proud of it, and I get it though. This is Trey Lance was in NDSU running over linebackers and just mowing them down, not sliding. He even said at a presser, they're like, "Why don't you slide?" And he's like, "It's just something I got to get used to. It's when I played ball at North Dakota State, I didn't need to slide. I just ran them over."
Yeah,
so
the NFL is not North Dakota State, though, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Dude, I mean,
the linebackers are just as fast as you right now, bro.
I was gutted for you and you guys, man, when I saw Trey Lance got hurt, bro. I really was. It hurt me a little bit, and it's not even my team. But what's aside from the injuries? I mean, what's going good for the 49ers? What's something they can do to like possibly pull this game out and win this game and pull the upset? I mean, your guys' run game is it the perennial strength running the ball 49ers that it usually is? Or I know you lost, talking of injury, you lost your starting running back earlier in the season, but what's your guys' run game looking? I mean, is that something the Chiefs should be worried about?
Look, San Francisco's dangerous running the ball, okay? Because we use Debo, we use Ayuk, we use a fullback. I mean, we have a lot of versatility, and then we still have our backs, right? So there are five weapons that can literally be used to find open space. So, Bo, I was listening when you were concerned about your secondary. You know, we will find a way to attack that secondary and get into open space.
And you guys got the guys to do it too. Yeah.
We will that I mean, legitimately, look, let's just take everything off the table and come back to where the Chiefs will be the toughest matchup that we have seen yet. Okay, the Rams, don't look at the Rams. The Niners, just that we got your number. We know how to get you. I don't know. Shanahan knows how to get into McVay's head.
Right.
Just make no mistake. Like we have won every single game versus LA since Shanahan became the Niners coach, right? You're bound to get one, and you got the most important one. They did. They got us on that. They got us in the NFC Championship game. That kind of just like wiped the slate clean. Like we start 0-0. Beat you. We're now 1-0 versus the Rams, and we will continue to do that to the Rams. But the Chiefs are the team that I have been now. I have had us losing to the Chiefs since we got the schedule. I actually had us losing to the Broncos because I thought that the Broncos were going to be this. I mean, everyone thought that Russell coming into Denver, you guys know, really.
Nope. Dude, go to our YouTube page. Our pinned video is us talking about this very specific subject, about how everybody was ranking the AFC West to be this powerhouse. And we're like, Russell Wilson hasn't thrown a snap. Devontae Adams has Derek Carr throwing to him. And the Chargers are the Chargers, notorious for gambling their games away. So,
yeah.
I mean,
And choking. I thought Russell, John, we talked about this on like Shank Club last year about the Russell Wilson stuff, man. Like he didn't look the same last year.
No.
He didn't.
No.
And then he got that injury and he missed that time. And when he came back, he even looked less like him old self.
Right.
He's older. He's slower now. He doesn't scramble around. And
Denver traded away all their picks.
What's up, Nick?
What's up, Nick?
Good to see you, man. Glad you can make it on, brother.
But no,
Appreciate
like Denver traded away all their good players with that trade, like their top receivers. So you knew like Russell Wilson didn't have anybody going into Denver by any means.
Yeah, but you got a question though. Like taking Russ out of Seattle and away from Pete Carroll it's weird.
It is.
Russ can barely make anything happen in Denver. Vegas was never really a concern to me. Chasing the bag, do what you got to do. I'm a pro player. Get your money. Do what you got to do. But Denver, I thought that Russ would at least look like Russ, right? Like there isn't even like a figment of Russ out here. This is not first ballot Hall of Famer playing in Denver right now. As a matter of fact, he's hurting his Hall of Fame, his
chances of getting in there.
Status. Right? Yeah. He's really working against it. Like this guy was a lock first ballot. I guarantee that. And now he just looks like hot garbage. And there's not even a tiny bit that resembles the Russell that I know from the NFC West.
No.
And they still beat us. Like they beat us in one of the ugliest facets possible. It was just a game of defense.
Yeah.
And Jimmy was stepping out of bounds in the end zone, getting 2 points, he was like a pick 8, dude. He got 2 points in the end zone, threw a pick. It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen, and go figure, like that safety essentially cost us. But you guys are going to be the biggest competition that we've had yet, because San Francisco has struggled with mobile threats. I mean, Mariota last Sunday was unstoppable. Now, Bosa changes the game. One man, he has such an impact that it's getting him back is going to be it's necessary.
Is he back 100% for sure for this game?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They never really graded his groin injury. So like we knew that Kittle had a grade 2 coming in and he missed 4 weeks.
Right.
Just like we knew that was like a severe injury. Bosa's been doing stuff that Kittle wasn't doing. Bosa's not exactly human in every aspect. He's kind of like a machine. Right. But all jokes aside, the guy is not that groin injury is probably just a groin, and they were very, very cautious. They're just like, look, you know, we don't need you versus Atlanta. Chill out, get healthy. You know,
Yeah.
We're going to revisit Kansas City. Like Atlanta was not. Guys could probably have gone versus Atlanta, but they just didn't. It was like let's lose. Let's win or lose. Like we still could have won Atlanta. We could have, but it just the guys weren't catching the ball. So there's a problem here. Now, do we struggle versus Kansas City the same way we struggled in Atlanta? I don't think so. I think that these guys know that this is Kansas City. We lost the Super Bowl. We're like their minds. They've been locked into this game since
everyone's got the revenge game against us.
I mean, can you blame us though? I
No,
mean,
not at all. No, not at all.
To have been one of the best teams in football in 2019 and to come up second place, that's tough. You know, we are the second best team to you, right? So I think that, you know, you can't blame us for licking our lips and wanting this game. And unfortunately, we're coming into this game banged up. That's what sucks, right?
Well,
because don't you want us at our best? You can get a really you know who you are, guys. You know your identity. You know who you are. The first test versus Buffalo, that's a good game. It's a close game. That's a good game. That is a game that interception changes this, but this San Francisco is your next best game. Your toughest opponent yet to Buffalo. Healthy.
No, I agree with
Fully
that. And it sucks that it's back to back because, yeah, you nailed it. Like, that's our next toughest game. And then it's kind of, we get a bye week, and then kind of, it feels like smooth sailing compared to everybody we've played.
Right. And you'll never really get the revenge game, right, in a regular season when you lose a championship to somebody. But you saw it against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple weeks ago. The Chiefs came out, and you could tell they were still pissed about that Super Bowl 2 years ago. And they went out and they kicked Tampa Bay's ass in that game. And you can't tell me that Super Bowl 2 years ago had nothing to do with that. It definitely did.
I mean, listen, you guys know how hard it is to get to a Super Bowl. To get within 6-7 minutes of it and lose it. What it's done to me, it was brutal, dude. It's brutal. That killed me because we threw one away in 2012. We lost by a field goal to
Harbaugh.
You know, the Harbaugh, right? I mean, that game there was
Joe
power
Flacco
failure, crazy shit happened. We get back into the game. We're showering with power outage. Like guys are getting fresh again and like weird. But we lost 2 Super Bowls, and it's devastating, right? So I think that San Francisco, a healthy San Francisco team, if you beat Buffalo back to back, beat San Francisco, you're favored. I mean, look at what's your record? What should you be? You're 4. What are you? 4-2?
Yeah,
4. Should be 6-0.
Could be.
I'm not gonna say the Bills should have been a win. They beat us straight up. There was bad calls both ways. Both teams were missing some players. I think we were missing a little bit more on defense, injury wise, than they were. But the Colts game, we just completely pissed that game away. Like the Colts are terrible. The Colts suck. There's no excuse to lose to that team. So
that was your trap game.
Right now, we should be sitting at 5-1. Is where I think
5-1. Yeah, that's fair.
Should be at, but
San Francisco shouldn't have lost to Chicago, but we played them underwater with scuba gear.
And you had your rookie QB.
We had a rookie QB, and it was just
that weather game though was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird, but they had to play in it too. So I'm not going to make excuses. It's just all right.
It's not an ideal setup or environment for your rookie quarterback to play his first game either. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that hurts.
Weird. So
it was weird for most teams.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, go on, John. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go on. Your Niners. You think your record should be what?
I mean, I just feel like we should not have lost to Chicago. We should have beat Denver. I'll take Atlanta as a trap game, but I mean, I had that as a win. I had that on a win coming in. So I had us. I mean, the beginning of our schedule wasn't bad. Like the Rams game was. I mean, some guys had that as a loss. I had that as a win. I believe that we can always beat the Rams. I had Kansas City as a loss, and then we go into the bye. Like we need this bye week so bad. So it's like to come out here in a redemption game versus Kansas City, and to come out of this game praying as healthy as we possibly can be. Like I don't know what we could do taking more casualties versus you guys because we play so physical. And the same goes to you. I mean, you're going to play this team hard. They're going to play you hard. You're going to give it. This is going to be a crazy battle, right? I mean, it's going to be a battle of the trenches this game.
Right.
Jimmy Garoppolo's got to be just about perfect. You know, he's got to get the ball out. He will get some protection from Trent Williams. I mean, my fingers are crossed that Trent Williams comes back. I mean, there's a good chance he comes back. So, like I said, I need San Francisco, or we need San Francisco to attack you guys in the secondary and get in space, play our game in space the way we do, and run the ball like we run the ball, man. We pound the ball. We try to get we average at least 5 yards a carry. We're going to mix it up. I expect her to be, last game was very, very dull. There was no urgency. It was weird, right? And I don't want to say that what I want to believe is that Shanahan is saving some creativity for this game versus Kansas City.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because the presser today, they asked, how have you reviewed film? And Shanahan said he hasn't reviewed the Super Bowl film since today, but today he did it with a different, he said it's difficult to watch, but we did it this time with a different perspective, different personnel.
So you think he takes any tricks out of the bag though against the Chiefs? I mean, there's the Super Bowl revenge aspect of it, but this is also a non-conference game that really in the big scheme of things isn't going to hurt you that bad if you lose it. I might be reluctant if our same goes for the Chiefs too. I don't know that I'm breaking out anything special for this game. I mean, it's a game that if you lose, like I said, it's an out of conference. It's definitely, I mean, it's not even a division or anything close to that.
No, I agree 100. I do.
But that Super Bowl, I mean, it's got to be bitter in his mind. I mean, if it was bitter for you, it's bitter for him, man. The coach, he's got to want to get some redemption there. I will say our defense has been revamped a little bit, and we're getting McDuffie back. He should play this game. He missed last 4 games with a hamstring. We're getting linebacker Willie Gay back. We've gotten Nick Bolton, who had a breakout rookie year. He's a big physical thumper type guy. Willie Gay, another big, strong, fast linebacker. We brought in Eric Reed from the
Justin Reed.
I always say Eric Reed. Why do every time I say, I don't even know who Eric Reed is. Justin Reed. We brought him.
I think Eric Reed lived with us in Rio Rancho, man.
He did. You're right. But Justin Reed is like a physical thumper, strong safety that we brought in from Houston. So, maybe we get ourselves like a defensive battle, man. We're just out there just beating the hell out of each other.
I just
like that. I mean, I see it like it's strength against strength, right? Like we've got the number 1 scoring offense. You guys have the number 2 scoring defense. And I think that's going to be the matchup, right? I mean, can you guys hold us to the 17, the 20 points? And, and how do you guys handle that? I mean, I just, that's going to be the matchup that I think everybody's watching during this game, right?
I mean, you guys are a high-scoring offense, and San Francisco is struggling to put up. It's like we put up 17. we always manage to drive down the field early and get 7. Okay. We got these scripted plays, and we always say that outside of those scripted plays, Jimmy is a fish out of water. It's just like you execute these plays that you should execute full. Like you practice this all week. You execute these plays and you make them count. But then he can't freelance. Like he can't put the team on his back. And yeah, exactly. No pun intended, Bo. Thank you. He can't put the team on his back, and he can't come from behind. We could not come from behind to beat Atlanta. But we also had receivers dropping balls. They were dropping easy catches. Okay. And I don't understand that. Like it was just driving me crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Like Jimmy's rolling out, he's telling Kittle to get in the back of the end zone. Kittle's like on the goal line. Like, dude, get in the back of the end zone. He's gonna hit you back there. And if you were there, that was a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's just like we were just making such boneheaded mistakes last game that it was out of control. So I don't know, Nick. Now, Scott, you bring a great point. This is an out of conference game. San Francisco's coming into this bandaged up. We're banged up. That injury report is ridiculous. Maybe we just come out, we contend the best we possibly can, and we try to hold you to 28. I think that I don't know how well the secondary is going to mesh. I'm worried about it. No Emmanuel Mosley, no Charvarius Ward, no Hufanga. Now it's a broken arm on Jimmy Ward, Jason Verrett, who's been out since missed the entire season. A bunch of rookies, Lenore, Ambry Thomas, if we see him. I mean, it's just like we really need the pass rush. We really need this pass rush. We need to get at you. We need to get home. We at least have to get to Mahomes at least once this game. We've got to disrupt his like I know the one thing about Mahomes is that the guy's pocket awareness is phenomenal.
It is.
He scrambles, the way he feels the pressure. He just makes these very, very easy moves. Kelsey is going to be a force. You know what I mean? It's just like, where pick your poison. Do you try to cover the flat? Just mark up Kelsey, make it difficult for Mahomes to make throws. Just kind of give him. Bosa has a way of, but then again, you double Bosa, you take Bosa out. You got a rookie in Drake Jackson who's pretty good. I don't know how well he's kind of banged up himself. We're just hurt.
We tried to double Von Miller Sunday, and he still got around 2 guys somehow. So Bosa's, that dude is
tough. Game changer.
I don't know. Is he the best defensive end in football? Do you think, John?
I think his numbers right now sure put him up there at least at 1 or 2, right? I think before last week he was in every game. He was. I don't know how many sacks he had. I forget now. He first
6. He was up there around 6 or 6.5. I want to say.
Yeah. So he's definitely in the top. He's in the discussion.
Yeah, bro. If you're an OC, you're alluding to John's point. You're definitely double teaming the guy. You are aware of him on every play that he's in there, right? Like when that dude's on the field.
But with this groin injury and, Bosa gets low and bends, the way that he shoots on that outside edge, it's almost like when people say Bosa gets held by the throat, gets held. If you're a defensive player and your bend and the way that you get around your opponent is when you shoot up, they're going to grab you. That's the moment that they have to get you. They got to grab you. So they often grab you from behind. They will grab you like this. It's just it's the way he shoots out and the way he pops up, you grab him. I just don't know what version of Bosa we're going to see because I don't know the severity of that groin injury. I don't think it wasn't a grade 2 injury. So, he was limited and he's participating, but he's limited. So it's not like Kittle, where Kittle was not participating. That dude was just a DMP across the board, week in, week out. So I don't know. I say that you guys are going to win this game because my team is just not full strength. But the offense, if the offense gets their shit together, we should at least make it at least a close game. Maybe 28-20 KC.
To your point about Bosa, though, like we had Joe Valerio on last week, and famous offensive lineman for the Chiefs in the 90s, right? He's talking about going up against Howie Long. I mean, the Raiders, one of the best pass rushers ever to play the game. And he was talking about how nearly every series he held Howie Long, right? And there was one that was just egregious, right? Like there was one where he said he grabbed him by the face mask, brought him down, and Howie Long, being the professional he is, doesn't complain, say anything, goes up to the refs like, hey, man, number 73 is holding me. And Joe Valerio, overhears him saying this to the ref. He goes, hey, to be fair, gentlemen, I've been holding him on every play, right? So, like, there's those guys, right? Like, Bosa is going to get held every single play. Like,
without a doubt.
That's just a thing. And that's, like, one of the most frustrating things for me is watching the line series is, like, every offensive series, there's an offensive hold, right? Like, regardless of which team, which series, that's always the thing, right?
We see it with Chris Jones, right? It's just when you got one of those guys,
right?
You see it happen over and over and over again. And, I mean, just pace of play, they literally just couldn't throw that many flags, right? So
I'll tell you what, the guy that scares me, man, is Debo.
Right, dude, or even Ayuk.
Debo? How does he look this year? Is he picking up where he left off last year, going into the end of the season, into the playoffs?
Dude, all right, I'm gonna cut you off real quick before you answer, but I still want to hear your answer. It seems to me like he's waiting in the wings, like he's been sneakily like just waiting to blow up.
Debo is like Nick, my friend Nick here in the chat says it all the time. Not the greatest receiver, but one of the greatest football players, right? Just the way that this dude is a bruiser. He runs through you. He will run through you. He will shake you. He will get yards.
He's fast too.
But he's got to catch the damn ball. Last week, he's not catching the ball. Okay. Yeah. When it hits you in the hands and there's nobody around, you don't catch it, we got a problem.
Yeah.
But I do believe that this team does bounce back. When they have a bad game, they bounce back. Okay. The offense was just not clicking versus Atlanta. I don't understand it. I don't have an answer for it. If that was our trap game, then so be it. Right?
Atlanta's a sneaky team this year, man. They've been in almost every game.
They are.
I know a lot of people say, the 49ers lost to the Falcons. And the Falcons could be sitting there with 1 or 2 losses right now very easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are they? They're 3-3, right? The Falcons are.
Yeah, they're a sneaky good team, man. They've got like a 6'6" Pitts or London. I don't remember who's taller or bigger, but they're both monsters, right? You got a 5'10" in Lenore trying to cover a guy that's 6'6". You get that mismatch is just unbearable. They're beating us. They're beating us at our game, the slant game that we do, the dink and dunk game. They're just picking us apart like that. You know what I mean? We tied it up. It was 14-14. And before you know it, it's not 14-14 anymore. It's 21-14. And San Francisco can't do shit. You know, we fumbled the ball. You know, we fumbled the ball. Jimmy threw a pick.
You guys are starting to come from behind, play catch-up team.
Yeah.
We're not. We are not that.
In Atlanta,
I mean, look at the drive. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I just looked it up. Atlanta's 8th in points scored this year in the NFL. So I mean, they're a top 10 offense.
Right. And who
I didn't know that.
Who thought and who even imagined that they would even be a top 10 in points scored?
Yeah, top 20. I wouldn't have picked them in top 10. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that I would have even had them in the top 20.
Exactly.
It just wasn't sold on Mariota. It just thought this guy's, we're just plugging the pieces. I had the same, I know what he's capable of, but I when you say Mariota to Atlanta, I feel the same as when you say Wentz to Washington.
Right.
Exactly, right? Oh, Mariota.
That's where I got him. And I just like, they're doing well. Mariah, what's up, fam?
What's up, Mariah?
Little cross chat action here.
Chiefs fans got a big fuck you for Marcus Mariota for that Titans playoff game. So Scott and I were there.
There you go.
Completed a touchdown.
That left a stain, right?
So we're not fans of Marcus Mariota.
Bro, we brought this up last year. The Chiefs are notorious to falling victim to that play specifically, where a quarterback will throw it up, get it blocked, and he'll catch it and get in the end zone somehow. Like,
right. Yeah, we had an Andrew Luck playoff game where he fumbled it and it bounced off the center's ass right back to him, and he ran it in for a touchdown. I mean, everybody thinks it's just rose petals and gumdrops and sugar, candy. Being a Chiefs fan, bro, up until about 4 or 5 years ago, it was pain and misery and disappointment my entire
perennial losses, man. Like that was my life.
So, I mean, it seems like it's all rosy and, oh, man, being a Chiefs fan is great. And it is now with having Patrick Mahomes, no doubt. But, yeah, I mean, you look at the Falcons, you talking about who would have predicted they were going to be a top 10 offense at any point in the season. Outside of Kyle Pitts, who could have even named another Atlanta player? Calvin Ridley's out for the year. An offensive player, a wide receiver, or running back on the Falcons.
You had Algier, who looked like I don't even know how many yards he was getting on us, but it was ugly.
Right.
And we stopped the run for a minute there, but we just couldn't stop Kyle Pitts. We couldn't stop London. Couldn't stop Mariota.
I mean, they came in with Marcus Mariota and Kyle Pitts and who else on offense. So they've been a surprise, and losing that game to them is not as bad of a loss as most people want to make it sound like or portray it to be at all.
It's one of those games that comes back though when you're on the back end of the season and you're an NFC team. You don't want to be a wild card team hoping that Atlanta loses or hoping that this has to happen and that has to happen. And it's got to be a perfect scenario. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the kind of, like, you just got to win the games you're supposed to win. Okay. Yeah. Now, I jotted down a loss for Kansas City at the beginning of when the schedule was released. I jotted that down because I didn't know. There's games that I just believe that the Niners will struggle with, and that's why I said, like, of course, this is exactly our luck to get an opportunity to play Kansas City and we're not full strength. I mean, it would figure, right? This would be our little revenge game. But then you bring a good point, Scott, because it's like, this doesn't count. This is an out of conference game. Are we really going to play this game as if it were a division rival? Conference rival?
Yeah, we are. That's why it's going to be such a good fucking game. They're going to play it like that, man.
Well, what I'm going to say is the Chiefs are 4-2, and so are the Chargers, right? So the Chiefs they need this win, because if they lose and the Chargers win, then all of a sudden now we're looking up in our own division. So, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying as far as maybe some of the Andy Reid bag of tricks may not be coming out like they did against Tampa Bay, but the Chiefs are going to be hungry for a win, especially after that Bills game. They got to stay ahead of their division. So I don't know. I think you're going to see them the force.
Yeah, I think Chiefs are going to win. I said it every week, though. You said you're not a homer. John, I don't remember the last time I picked against the Chiefs to win a football game. So,
I mean, the only reason I say I'm not a homer in this regard is that we've suffered too many injuries right now for me to be like, listen, we're coming into this. If this was week 1,
especially on defense,
I'm ready to go. Yes, this defense is banged up. That's
the side of the ball you don't want banged up when you're playing Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the boys, right? I mean,
no.
But to that point, I feel like San Francisco has one of the most. Sorry, I feel like San Francisco has one of the most underrated offenses right now with the weapons that they have in Devo, in Ayuk. Jimmy G, for whatever opinion you have in him, like, you know what I mean? Like you're saying, it could be completely worse with a no name in that position right now. Like,
100%.
I feel like they have one of the more underrated offenses. I think we might see like a really high scoring game this week, man.
I mean, listen, we're both coming off a loss, right? We're both coming off a loss. We really need to go into the bye week with a W. Fuck it. I need to get into the bye week, period. We need to get healthy.
Right.
We need rest.
Yeah.
Just any way you cut it.
You guys need like
We need to get. We do, dude. We could use a few, but for now, it's Kansas City, our toughest opponent yet, and just marking up Kelsey and chasing Mahomes is not something that we are right now. It's not something that this team is structured to do. Yeah. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a gritty game. And I could be downplaying my team. I mean, for all I know, this is the game that they've prepared for, you know?
Right.
This is the one game that they prepared for.
Aside from Kelsey, who do you think's like the Chiefs' biggest threat aside from Kelsey? Like you just mentioned, like, dude, marking him up.
Kelsey is nasty.
Right. Like, yeah. But we had this big conversation before you got on about like our receiving core and like, do we have an established number one receiver or number two to Kelsey kind of thing? Like, I'm curious, like, what an outsider looking in kind of looks at us like who do you think our biggest threat aside from Kelsey is?
Juju's a threat.
Okay.
I mean, if Juju gets an open space, he's a threat. Mecole Hardman. I mean, he's an outside guy. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm not really scared of Mecole Hardman.
He's all speed. He's a fast guy, but he doesn't really understand schemes and he doesn't run routes very well. And
yeah, but speed in this situation versus this secondary in San Francisco right now, speed could be a problem.
Maybe that's
a problem. You know, speed could be a problem. But Kelsey right now stands as the biggest threat. Yeah. This guy gets open. His catch radius is stupid,
ridiculous, right?
And the chemistry is phenomenal. It's phenomenal between him and Mahomes. You know, you can't make it up. Like, these guys, Mahomes will hold on to that ball 2 seconds longer and give Kelsey an opportunity just to get some space, and boom. I mean, it's just that's the beauty of having an elite quarterback, and I tell Tony that all the time.
Right? They've got like a mind meld going on, the two of those guys. Yeah. Like, they're always thinking the same thing and on the same page, which is crazy.
Can't hate it. Jimmy and George Kittle used to have that, but Kittle just couldn't stay healthy enough to maintain that chemistry. You know,
that's too bad.
And now it's like he's just such a block. He's got a block. George Kittle has to block. You know, unfortunately, he's just a big asset to our run game. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And last year, believe it or not, he had like 900 yards receiving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate he's dealt with all the injuries he has too. I mean, I joke online and call him George Brittle, and there's the whole is Kittle better than Kelsey discussion that people like to have online, and it's Mark Andrews and Travis Kelsey now, but I like Kittle. The guy's a hard-nosed football player. He's an old school. He reminds me of these old school guys that isn't afraid to take a hit or give a hit.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks that guy's dealt with the injuries he has, because I like him as a player. I mean, as not a fan of the 49ers, I enjoyed watching him, and there's been games where he's been on, and I watched it, and I go, man, that guy's a hell of a player. So,
and I mean, any way you look at it, he and Kelsey respect one another fully.
Right.
They've got a good friendship. They're very supportive of one another. There was a time where you could maybe compare the two and say, in 2019, you could say that Kittle and Kelsey were neck and neck, but Kelsey took it. It's not even close at this point. It's not even close. They're not asked to do. I mean, Kittle's asked to do different than Kelsey. Sure. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
If you had an elite passer in San Francisco, Kittle might be a different player. Right. You know, but he just he's an asset to the run game. It's what he's asked to do. And, you know, we have weaknesses on the offensive line. We have young talent. It's necessary. Pacheco, or however you say his name, is this dude gonna come out and do anything? I mean, does he get carries?
We were just discussing this, man. If he given the opportunity, we are firm believers that guy will produce. Just hasn't had that opportunity yet.
Okay, because he's got. I mean, there's hype behind him. I mean, they expect him to be that guy. They do.
He's just stuck behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was our first round draft pick a couple of years ago, and they just they won't give up on the guy. I don't know if it's stubbornness or maybe they see something in practice. I don't get it. It's just when I see the guy, man, he looks slow, and he's not. He doesn't break tackles. There's literally still shots out there if you search where you see the offensive line and there's a hole and Patrick Mahomes is pointing to the hole. In fact, Clyde Edwards is running over here. Like,
dude, I've seen defensive linemen catch up to him.
Clyde's bouncing it outside, getting tackled for 1 yard gain. I don't get it. Pacheco, the guy, you know, people say he looks like he runs angry. He looks like he runs pissed off to me. I mean, I'm sitting. I said this the other day. I'm sitting at home watching it on TV, and I get nervous when they hand him the ball. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine what the defenders are feeling like when that dude gets the ball and he's running at him. That dude, he looks like he's got the juice, but he's just stuck behind a guy who was a first-round pick that the team just doesn't seem to want to give up on. I don't understand it.
Yeah, Scotty nailed it perfectly. He said, you know, like CEH is kind of like Derek Carr, where every time you're like, all right, they've definitely got to move on from this guy. Like they'll do like just enough. Be like, okay, well, we just got to give him a little bit more time, you know. And
that's a terribly accurate analogy. God damn it.
Yeah, it's
so
nice.
accurate.
I mean, hopefully it doesn't go on 10 years like it has with Derek Carr, but it's aggravating as a fan, and I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see Pacheco get more of a chance. I mean, we know what we've got with Clyde, right? He'll have above average performances probably 2 or 3 times a season, but he's not a guy that like you can depend on game in and game out to get you the tough yards that you need, right? And that's that's what we need. We need that dude that can get the ball and it's 3rd and 3 and he can get 3.5 yards, like, you know, more often than not. And I don't know, just it's frustrating for us to see it because, you know, we had that dude with Kareem Hunt, and then obviously all the things transpired that, you know, ended up with us, you know, getting rid of him. But man, when we had Kareem Hunt on this team, it was a different animal on offense because like you had to respect that run game. And right now we just don't have that, you know? I mean, that's why people were able to play Tampa 2 defense and put, you know, the deep safeties on us all last year is because like they weren't scared of us gashing them for 8, 10, 12, 15 yards a carry.
Dude, you could make an argument when the Chiefs had Kareem Hunt. You could make an argument that they had the best quarterback in the league in Patrick Mahomes, the best tight end in the league with Travis Kelce, the best running back in the NFL with Kareem Hunt, and the best wide receiver in the NFL with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And you thought cap space was going to be an issue this year if we kept all those guys.
Dude, like, just thinking back to that right now, just that offense, that team had, oh, man.
It could be a possibility again, minus Tyreek Hill now.
God.
But speaking of the running game and, like, the trade incentives we were talking about earlier, what's on the docket for San Francisco, John? Like, is San Francisco leaning towards any trades that you're aware of?
There's been mentions of Christian McCaffrey.
That's
coming to San Francisco. I see
that'd be a good fit.
Everyone's
for you guys,
kicking the
though.
tires. You know, it would
like
be
$5
because
million, though, right? That's easily $5 million cap space right there.
We're just look. You guys are in cap hell. We're in cap hell. You guys are moving some money around to potentially land OBJ. I see that Kelce was moving some money around, right?
Yeah. So OBJ is the rumor. We were talking about that earlier. Don't necessarily think that's going to be the move.
Dude,
but
you don't want an OBJ in
No.
Kansas City.
no.
Listen
No,
to
no,
me.
no.
The
I'm
guy
not
is
sold on him.
all right. When I read that OBJ was on the radar for Kansas City, I thought to myself, okay, there's that OBJ. Like OBJ is not the OBJ that everybody remembers, right?
Exactly.
He's still just he brings a negative vibe to a team. It means it well. Like it's supposed to be a team. He's a team guy, but he's not a team guy. He's a me guy. OBJ is a me guy. All right. And once he demands the ball from Mahomes, like Mahomes is now like, it's like, listen, guy, this is my team. All right.
Right.
You're
Come
here.
here making demands.
You're here just to help us compete. You know, it's OBJ is going to come into this squad. Let's just hypothetically say he gets picked up. He's now a Chief. He is going to do what he did in Cleveland, and it's what he did in LA. The difference is that LA catered to that shit. They forced that ball from Stafford. They forced that ball to OBJ. It wasn't pretty. All right. It's like it's this is Cooper Kupp's
contractual.
Well, and
it's contractual.
Right. Well, and OBJ was only there for what?
A year.
8 games, 6 games, or some shit. Like
It's just,
it's really hard
just
to be
like
a
this.
and be a pain in the ass when you're not there for very long. I mean, any place he's been at for any period of time. Now, granted, I will say the Giants and the Browns sucked with him, and a guy as talented he is, I can understand it being frustrating playing on a shitty team and losing all the time. I could see that. So you go to the Rams, you're not there for very long, and you're winning. Things are going good. I don't know that I'm really worried about the attitude with him coming here because you got guys like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to kind of keep that shit in line. But
That's true.
I just don't think he's the difference maker that everybody thinks he is.
Yeah, I agree.
And he tore his ACL in February of this year in the Super Bowl. Like he's going to be ready to go week 7. I don't know, man. That just seems like that's
when it comes to injuries, bro. I feel like we're speaking like
a long shot.
When it comes to injuries, dude, we're speaking like we're born in the 80s or some shit, right? Like we think it's going to be this season-ending fucking thing. The way medical stuff is now, a torn ACL isn't a game end or a season ender anymore. Almost, it's not a career ender, that's for sure. And like if you have it early enough in the season, it's not a season ender. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah, it's usually a 10-month recovery. 9-month recovery on something like that, man. The
injury has to be
is most players that come back from it though, like I was saying earlier, like they don't have the same spring in their step when they come back from that type of injury, right?
No,
like,
some do, some don't. Fuck, Jamal Charles did.
Adrian Peterson had a 2,000-yard season, right?
Yeah, Adrian Peterson.
That's just weird.
Depends on the guy.
Strange. That dude's just they just use tree sap and glue.
Yeah, he's probably not the right guy to compare people to.
He's the only guy I know that had an ACL tear and came back in the same season.
Well, that's what to my point. That's what I'm saying. Like rehabbing medical injuries like that's a different thing, especially on that professional level now, right? I
guess it all depends on the severity of the injury. Like if you tear the meniscus and tear the ACL, the meniscus is the longer. It's like I think that's the part that I think that's the one that takes you the longest, right? Because the inflammation in the knee, you got to wait for all that to subside. There's usually more damage in the knee than just tearing your ACL, right? Like you mess it up. So
yeah, it gets right.
I guess it's just there's context to every knee injury, right? But OBJ is just in Cleveland. He was demanding the ball from Baker Mayfield, forcing Baker to make throws that were unnecessary to make. Like it's just a very, I mean, even though you have Kelce, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, you got a lot of leaders and a lot of alphas on your squad. It's not going to stop this guy from running his mouth though, because he still considers himself an alpha as well, right? So he's still going to run his mouth, and it's just like you don't need these disruptions. Like you can pretend, like you can ignore him, pretend he's not there, the same way they did him in Cleveland. Like at one point, they're just like, dude, shut up, just run your route, throw the ball, just leave, just get out of here.
I've been saying this for 3 weeks now. If I was the Chiefs, I'd be calling Washington and saying, "What do you want for Terry McLaurin?" That's who I would go after if I was the Chiefs.
That's a good. You want to get younger. You want to, if you're going to invest, you're going to make these moves. You want to get younger.
The Chiefs got like 13 draft picks or some shit next year. Like, and there's all this talk about the draft is being held in KC, so the Chiefs don't want to give up a first. Who gives a shit? If you call Washington, they say give us a first and a second or a first and a third for Terry McLaurin. Dude, sign that shit as quick as you can. Like, I would. Because your window's open, and the Bills have
deal before he needs a new contract, though.
Huh?
What about DJ Moore?
How long until they need to sign McLaurin to a contract?
I mean, I don't even worry about that next year.
Well, when was he drafted?
I don't. 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
3 years ago. He's still got another year.
You're going to be looking at his 5th year. Yeah.
You can figure that out. You can work that out where they do that sign and trade like they did with Frank Clark, where the team you're trading signs them to an extension that backloads some of the money so that you can get them in this year. Like, there's lots of ways to do that. To me, that's who I want. I want Terry McLaurin. I think Washington's going to be in rebuild mode. I think they're going to be firing their coach at the end of the year. I don't think Ron Rivera is going to survive.
Yeah,
you don't have anybody at quarterback. You've got a good young nucleus, defense, Chase Young and some of these other guys on the defense, man. Like, go get you some draft picks. And kind of not start from scratch, but Terry McLaurin, man, that's who I want.
Terry's that's a good pickup. I mean,
wait, remind me again, Joe. Who did you say you guys needed somebody or not when I was asking you about is San Francisco making any trade moves or anything?
Man, I mean, look, Brian Burns is obviously he's a commodity. I mean, can you imagine having Jones and Brian Burns?
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, I'd like that.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I mean, Bosa and Brian Burns
right.
The money though, it's the money. Brian Burns is not going to come cheap. He's going to demand a lot of money. And the capital that you're going to invest in it, there may be a Brian Burns out there in the draft, and you may have the capital to get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you determine who you want and what you need? You guys probably do need a receiver more than you need a pass rusher. McDuffie, right? Like, is he a for sure thing yet? I know they don't have to really. I know they don't have to.
He got hurt in the first half of the first game, so I mean the jury's still out on him.
Yeah.
Right? But, I mean, you'd like to think a first round draft pick is going to be a good player. I mean,
I think that we could use another pass rusher. We could use that. We have Elijah Mitchell. We have weapons in the run game. I don't exactly know that we need it. We just right now, if we're trading for anyone, I would say we value the pass rush. We truly value the trenches. We could use a center. We could definitely use a center more than anything right now. A center would probably be before CMC, Brian Burns. We could use a center in San Francisco, a young, good center, but that's our need. Our need is center.
Yeah.
If we're being totally honest, our need is center.
There you go.
I mean, what do you need? You need a threat in the passing game, right?
I think that's the Bills got Stephon Diggs, and I mean, you look at the Chiefs, and the Bills, we got Patrick Mahomes, they got Josh Allen. Those kinds counter each other. They've got Von Miller. We've got Chris Jones on the defensive line. They've got people, and to me, it's just right now, we just don't have a Stephon Diggs. We don't have a guy to counter that. We don't have the deep threat that's stretching the defense that you have to worry about. So, but a Brian Burns, another pass rush to help the defense out. I mean, I'm not going to turn my nose up at it, but me, I think I think our biggest need is another wide, which is frustrating as hell because we had one and we got rid of him. And the Tyreek Hill thing, which pisses me off, is he was still under contract for this year. Okay, he wants money and he wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league. So, okay, we'll look at it at the end of the year. Cap's going to be going up. Maybe we can restructure some other guys. Maybe some other guys leave and go to other teams on free agents. You don't re-sign.
Mm-hmm.
And if worst comes worst, Dude, you got the franchise tag. Franchise tag is asked for you. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so unnecessary to get rid of him. They didn't
I think
need to do it.
the last
Like,
thing you
it was
want,
like we
though,
wanted to, and so we just obliged. And was like, oh, okay, we'll let you go to somebody else.
I think the last thing you want, though, is a disgruntled player on your team, man. If he's showing any signs of like this isn't where I want to be, kind of shit, like you don't want to like have that
Well, he
kind of
didn't
like
say he wanted to
affect
be
your
here. He
locker
said he
room.
wanted to be paid like the best receiver in the NFL, and I think he is. So, but you had time to figure that out at least this year. I mean, you didn't have to close that window on him this year. You could have waited until next year, and if he's disgruntled and somebody else wants to pay him more money, you pay him more money. I mean, I realize we got some draft picks for him this way, but it just seemed like there was a way to keep him. Like there was a path to do it, and they didn't even try. They just were like, okay, we'll get rid of you. But
Doesn't seem to be dropping as many balls in Miami this year
no,
as
he
he did
doesn't.
last
No,
year.
he does
Look, look, there's got to be something to be said with the way that Andy Reid believes that he can facilitate his offense.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyreek Hill is a fast player. There are better players. You know, would you have been mad if you landed AJ Brown? Would that have been terrible? I mean, look at DJ Moore in Carolina. I mentioned DJ Moore because that's a good receiver. It's a very good receiver.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
he's not a Tyreek Hill. I mean,
no, but I mean, you know what the thing is that this is what I've learned. When we lost Mostert, we as fans wanted to replace that speed. It's like you got to figure out a way to coexist and formulate this offense without the fastest player, the fastest running back. You know, there are guys that are fast. They don't have to be Tyreek fast. They can be fast. You know, there are guys out there with better hands than Tyreek. They're taller than Tyreek. You know, and Patrick Mahomes, the way that Patrick Mahomes plays the game, when you are an elite passer, you don't need to have the fastest of the fastest. You can just have you can have above average receivers. They can be fast enough to get open, and he hits them. And then you can spread the ball. You can spread the ball all across the field. Like Sky Moore is going to be a great receiver. It's going to be crazy. Like,
I'm
great.
hopeful. But I mean, if it takes him a year or two though to get to that level, I mean, the Chiefs are in the window now, and the Bills are getting better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, Scott, you got to remember something. When we got Debo that first season, for the first 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks of football, we're like, what is happening? Like, what are we doing? We at the trade deadline, we bring in Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders brings that veteran presence to the locker room, and he does something like baptize Debo. And Debo after that was insane.
Right.
Just insane. Something happened there, right?
Yeah.
There was just that veteran presence matters. And I don't think that you have that at the wide receiver position. You've got Kelsey, but like you need a wide receiver, someone that can just get the young core. Like Juju Smith is still young. Mecole Hardman, do you see him there next year? Is he a Chief next year?
no,
You know,
I don't think not unless he plays for dirt cheap. And even then, he might fall down the depth chart, right? So he may be here, but he's just here as a cheap commodity, right? Just a luxury to have someone familiar with the system, but don't expect him to be wide receiver 3. He's 4 or 5, right?
He's that position right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to fall down the depth chart now. But I'm looking at a Carolina team that is looking to move assets. Just get you know. And if I'm Andy Reid, I'm interested in DJ Moore. I think he's. But then again, look. There's Christian McCaffrey. You might take the risk. You could take the risk because he's still fast, catches the ball. He can be utilized.
Yeah.
The way that you may want to use the way. I mean, look, right now, he's as fast as you're going to get. That dude's fast. I think he's fast.
He is.
So if
Dude's
you're
also
missing that
injury prone,
speed, he is. But if you don't need to drive him into the ground the way they did, You can use him.
Yeah.
You
There's
know, as a
reports
third
out there,
down
though, that-
situation.
Yeah, there's stuff out there that the Panthers want 2 first-round picks for him, and I'm not giving that.
They're never going to get that. I mean, they're going to say that because there's a sucker for everyone, but like, don't ever in your mind believe that he's going to go for even a first.
They could have got that 2 years ago,
Maybe he
but
doesn't
not
go
this
anywhere.
year.
I mean, they're not obligated
Maybe.
to get rid of him. I mean,
They're
he's
not.
a good
They're not.
block piece. You know, I mean, but
he's owed upwards around $38 million.
yeah, that's the other
He's got
thing.
like 11, 12. This guy's owed money. I mean, make no mistake, that's going to be tricky. But
Yeah.
you saw what happened with Robbie Anderson. They moved him right, boom. By halftime, they found a destination. You're out.
Gone.
I mean, but then again, do you blame the guy? Like, I'm not going to sit here and rot on this roster and waste my years. Just get me out of here. You know, Marquise Brown hurts his foot. There's an opening right now in Arizona. Boom. He's a problem. He could be a problem in the NFC West now for us. They got better. They maybe not even skipped a beat. You know, now DJ Moore, in my opinion, is better than Robbie Anderson, but still, you honestly think that Andy Reid's not considering it?
He might be considering it. I don't know that I would give up a whole lot to get DJ Moore. He's okay. He's not. I don't see him as like a game.
He's better than Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, I mean,
better than Hardman.
Yeah, no,
you know, he's an upgrade over Sky Moore. He's an
better
upgrade
than Juju?
there. I'd say he's maybe he's a bigger I mean, he's a better end. He's a red zone threat.
Right.
And I think he's probably more I think he's more aggressive than Juju. So I'd say he is by a bit. I think DJ Moore's an upgrade over Juju.
Yeah.
But there's no problem having Juju, DJ Moore, Sky Moore, and
maybe you get the Antonio Brown effect when you get another top receiver in there, because Juju had his best years when he was playing with somebody else, right? When he wasn't necessarily the guy, he was one of the guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that could unlock some of his potential too, which would be interesting to see. But
I think there's something to be said that if you can add an OBJ dirt cheap, but how cheap?
$4 million isn't dirt cheap.
You freed up 2.8 or 3 point something. You freed up some cash.
I don't know. We'll see.
But
that'd be interesting.
But
I don't know.
That money has to be available in case you need to sign. I mean, there's still plenty of football left. Let's not put all of our eggs in one basket for OBJ right out of the gate. Week 7.
No.
To me, it's kind of foolish. It's not good business.
When is the trade deadline? Do you guys know?
Well, I think it's usually right around week 9, 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I thought it was next week for some reason.
No, it's a few weeks out still. But
Let me Google this
be
shit.
interesting to
I thought
see.
it was like really soon for some reason.
Right. Well, it's getting a bit late for me, fellas. I got to get something to eat and get to bed here before too long. It's even later for John. He's out there in the Eastern time zone there, man. It's like
those East Coast
right,
guys.
I'm good.
They stay up till 5 in the morning, man. John's good.
Right.
We are. We chill.
Trade deadline's November 1st, by the way. So I mean, that's 2 weeks away.
Weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, maybe it's a little closer than I thought it was. But
That's 2 weeks. That's pretty close.
You
But
guys want to do some predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Get up out of here. John, you're the guest. We're gonna let you go first. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, man. They got the Chiefs at Santa Clara at -3. What are you thinking?
I mean, they're giving the 3 because we're home. That's the home field. Look, I'm gonna say Kansas City 28, San Francisco 20.
Ooh.
That's a pretty good guess. That's kind of like along the lines I was thinking of. I'm thinking like 27-17, something like that. Chiefs. Nick?
Thought about being a dick, but I'm not going to be a dick.
30-11.
Well, There's a score I had in mind, but it's not a score I'm going to bring up.
2019 score, bro. I know where you're going to. I know where you're going with this.
Shit, I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be maybe a lower scoring game. I'm going to say, Chiefs 24-17.
24-17.
I like it. Patrick Mahomes coming off of a loss. I don't see us being as stifled as we did against this banged up defense. I see us scoring a little bit over 30 points. I'll go 34-24. Yeah, I just see the 49ers being a little bit too banged up to keep up.
It's very possible. Very possible.
There you go. Well, John, we appreciate you coming on, man, and taking the time.
Guys.
Night, bro.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. This was fun.
Listen, I looked forward to this, man. I enjoy it. I respect you guys. I enjoy your company. You support the channel. This is my pleasure. This is the least I can do, man. Anytime. Right. I will always be in the chat supporting you guys. It's all good, man. Likewise, I will always remember my trip to Miami versus Kansas City. Now, before I go, I'm going to tell you a funny story. So there was a 49ers bar in Miami. It was like a NFC championship. It was an NFC. I don't know what the hell they pride themselves in. I don't know if they were like the NFC bar or whatever, but they had tickets for 49er fans just about a couple of hours before the Super Bowl started. They booted out all their fans. This was going to be a 49ers party only. Okay. So it's a few hours before the game. It's all 49er fans. I go down to Miami. I pack nothing but 49ers gear. I mean, nothing, t-shirts and just gear, just decked out, everything. Super Bowl, going through the emotions, lose. Allison and I are staying in Miami now for the next day. Oh, we have a whole day to just have to ourselves. What did you know that I had to wear my Niners gear because I had no other clothes? Oh, I want to go on this boat tour. We're going to see celebrity houses along the water. All right, great. We go to the dock, we get on boat. Okay, there's a bunch of old people, me, her. Oh, we're waiting for the lower deck. We're waiting for the lower deck to fill up. Lower deck. Kansas City fan. Kansas City fan. Kansas City fan. The whole tour boat is Kansas City fans. There's me, the Niner fan, upstairs with the seniors. Down below, it's a bunch of young, excited, happy, celebrating this victory. And they were fucking everywhere. I mean, everywhere. On the boat, off the boat, down the street, dinner, lunch, my hotel, everywhere. They're just looking at me and they're like, great game, yeah. Just, I mean, I was on fire. I was on, no matter where I turned, I got this logo and I got this laughing and this celebrating and just, it was awful. Awful. I meet Scott. We have our jokes, I would have never been able to tolerate this Kansas City podcast right out of the gate, out of a Super Bowl win. Yeah, honest to God, it made it better. It actually made it better. It made it better. I mean, I mean, sure, I lost, but I gained three cool dudes. That we can make jokes, and outside of all of it, we started a podcast around the same amount of time. I mean, you guys started not far after us, and you guys are doing your thing and we're doing our thing. And it's all good, man. I found, I'm a fanatic, man. I'm a nut job fan, but I found friends. So, I mean, it's been cool, but man, I couldn't avoid a Kansas City fan the rest of my weekend in Miami if I tried. I could not avoid a fan if I tried. It was insane. Constant reminder. So, this is it, guys. Our revenge game Any way we have it, however it goes, it goes. Good luck.
Looking forward to
Going
it.
down
Appreciate
Sunday.
you guys. Thank you for having me, fellas.
Yeah, no,
I
hey,
love the
we
channel,
appreciate it.
man.
Yeah,
I
no,
appreciate it.
it's a lot of
Great to
fun.
have you on, John.
Yeah, you can see John V down there. He's got his @Vornus. You can find him at Locker Room Rant. I tweeted out a link to his channel too.
Yes.
So if you're not subscribing
Yes.
and watching that show, you need to be. So go give that a check out. Big Game Sunday. If you haven't clicked like and subscribe on our channel in this video, do that. We did our first real giveaway for 1,500 followers. Patrick Mahomes kind of prize pack we put together. The more we can get the ball rolling and get some momentum and maybe get some monetization, we can do some more giveaways and hook some more Chiefs Kingdom up. So click
Congratulations to Brenda Pomeroy.
Congratulations to Brenda.
Sorry.
We'll get with her and get her gear. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Let's go Niners. Let's go.
Go
See
Chiefs.
you Sunday, fellas. See you Sunday.